1 so far. Should come back for a double. 2 off Simons' first ball. So his deep fieldsmen are long off and deep mid-wicket. And the rest of them are in the ring as required in the power play. Threlfo, a little single just down the muddle of backward square. Be interesting to see if Simons changes to over the wicket to the right hand. I think he is. Just waiting to see what Simons does here. Smith taking guard. And Simons is going over the wicket to the right-hander. No, he's staying around. I beg your pardon. He is going over, so he's staying around the wicket to both. Simons to Smith. Wide ball called, outside leg stump. Gillard stops the ball going for further wides. So he's got a 45, a square leg, a deep forward square, mid on, mid off, wide cover, sweeper, backward and 2 backward points, the finer of which is Luke Muddle. Oh, trouble here at the bowler's end. It's got to be a run out, and is. So very quick work there, and Smith is run out by half the length of the pitch at the bowler's end. Out comes Josh Trappel. And I've seen this bloke play some superb innings. One from memory when he was playing for Hamwicks, he made 130. And also one of the first games of the Plan D, Playfar had a hit and he played an unbelievably good innings under pressure and nearly got them home in an explosive innings. In a game where Newcastle were actually 27 off the first over and just won by 1 run. Trappel having a great day. I think he took 4 for a mate 70 that day, so serious talent. After the run out, it's Threlfo back on strike. He'll be facing Simons. Aaron Gray rejoins me.
Okay,
OIC of our Frog Box. How are we going?
I'm happy to say we're back online. Thank you to our support team at Frog Box, resolving an issue at their end. We're good to go. Sorry, we just missed that run out, but we were just off screen at the time. But yeah, so 1 wicket down.
For 7. Simons to Threlfo. Welcome back to the video coverage. Aaron Gray and David Redden here with you at Lynn Oval in Stockton. Threlfo goes to biggie, heavy ball, and can get some, especially on this pitch, Aaron, he'll get a bit of purchase and bounce and grip. Just a bit tacky. The wicket was rolled in between games to flatten it out a bit at the umpire's request. Simons going around. Holds that one up. Could be another run out here. No, the throw is poor. He goes way over Simon's head. Wasn't a single there.
Sorry, Dave, I'll be with you shortly, mate. Just flicking through some
no problems.
Final touches to make sure we're all good for the viewers.
We apologise again for the technical issues. The joys of live streaming. The bowler will be Flynn Guest. Got the ball in his hand, I reckon, and it will be Flynn Guest, who impressed in the last game actually. 2 for 20 off 4 for Flynn. Had a good chat with him in the last game. Very nice young man. His father was telling me he's been on telly a bit with Real Action, and he's quite confident. He's quite a confident speaker. So this will be Guest to Threlfo.
Looks like 1 for 9, Dave,
1
after
for
2.
9. A bit like my vision on the road, a bit blurry without glasses, that is.
Yeah.
Guest from the southern end, bowling to Threlfo. Maitland, Flood and Belmont here at Lynn Oval in Stockton, middle of the 3 set. Lovely shot, Threlfo. Just squeezes that one out to point, bringing Trappel on strike. Again, a poor throw to Gillard. So for Trappel, the field is mid-on, mid-wicket. Square leg is staying on the fence. Short, fine leg. Very fine third man. Then point, cover, extra cover, and mid-off. So the two deep fields are in a deep square and a very, very fine third man down at the Stocko Bolo end. Guest gets his length right to Trappel. Dot ball straight back down the pitch. Aaron, we were talking earlier on, second game of the 3-set at Townsend called off.
Correct, yeah. So the second game's been confirmed washout. They're making a decision on game 3 at 1 p.m, I believe.
1 p.m, thank you. And of course the games at Kahaiba are off for the day.
Yes. So it makes for some very interesting outcomes in our quarterfinals commencing next week.
There's all sorts of mathematical permutations now, aren't there? With now there's these points that are available. The 6 points here that are available today could get teams into the quarters, Aaron.
That's correct, yeah. So obviously the Flood could win there too and get the 6 points and be in the quotients shake-up, as could both the Seagulls and Belmont with a match remaining each can also now find their way to 6 points in this pool. So obviously first and second's locked in. It's about who finishes third and has a better quotient than those teams in third place in their own pools.
So go on.
Well, so just confirming how it works is there's three pools, 5 teams in each pool. The top 2 from each pool go through, and then the best 2 third place teams also go through to make up an 8-team quarterfinal series.
Which is where you're talking about quotients. Trappel, lovely late cut, gets that down to third man. Yes, so that's where your quotient comes in. So especially the teams here today, if they win, if they need, I'll bring the ladder up on my iPad here, if you wouldn't mind just covering for a minute.
So how it looks over at Townsend Oval, I believe West have had both of their games washed out today. So they will go to 6 points, okay? Their quotient is like 11, so they're probably a certainty to go through to the quarterfinals, I would think. And as for the pool A, I think, where they're a complete washout over at Kahaiba, you'll find that the top 2 will go through there, and I would dare say that their third place team will not go through. So I would suggest that the team here that comes third in this pool and the team over in pool C, which looks like being the Rosellas, will go through.
Single there to throw off. So just to let you know, as it stands before the washouts, in Pool A, the Sea Dragons are on top, followed by the Pumas. In Pool B, it's the Tigers and Sabres on top, both with 3 wins. They've finished playing, they're done. And in Pool C, the Waratahs look like they're home. You would think that the Lions, the Rosellas are actually a bit susceptible there. They're only on, they'll end up on 6 points. Yep. But the Lions will end up on 8 if they lose both their games. With 2 draws, will they not?
Yeah, that's right. So, but I think those top 3 teams are locked in.
Yeah. Oh, the quotient's great, yeah.
The Rosellas will be on 6, okay. Okay, so the Lions could be susceptible based on...
No, not the Lions. If they get 2 draws, they'll end up on 8 and actually top of the pool.
No, sorry, correct. Yeah, so the Rosellas, I think, will finish third. Obviously, the Lions, if they play in that third game, will have a game too, so they could definitely win and still go to the top of their pool. But I think the Rosellas are safe by the looks of that because their quotient is 11.
And interestingly, Stockton's quotient was diabolical. Now they've just taken 10 wickets and had a good win. Maitland Flood's quotient is better. So interesting. This pool is really interesting in these next 2 games. Single from Threlfo. No rush there. Just bumps it to short cover. Yes. So everybody in that last pool is, so the Sea Dragons were playing today, the Magpies had 2, so they're going to end up in 5, and I don't think they can make it. You're interesting to see what happens after that, but I think it's clearly Wallsend and Newcastle City are definitely in. They've both finished on 9, and they're going to go through. Yeah, Wallsend, the Tigers' quotient's excellent. Chappell gets that one to mid-wicket. Yeah. Arsky, and he's given him out, run out. Brilliant fielding. Ray Cooper, I believe. And that's Threlfo run out. Backing up a little bit too far. There wasn't a single in that one. Interestingly, I'm just looking at the.
So the way we'll go on just complete this.
Yeah, please do.
So the way the ladders were designed, rather than having one main ladder and you take your top 8 through, it was determined that it's a fairer system to have pools. So even if the Sea Dragons were to finish on 5 points, they still win their pool and will go through. They're automatically through. Okay, so it's the top 2 of your pool.
Regardless of what happens, if you finish top, you're through automatically.
Yes,
the question's irrelevant.
Correct.
Now on that, they'll finish up on 6 points with the same quotient, and Pumas will end up on 6 points as well with an inferior quotient. The Magpies also end up on 5 because they get 2 points from today. Black Roses end up on 5 with a high quotient. So yes, the Sea Dragons certainly win that pool because that's done. Now here today, the Seagulls are now actually on 3 points. The Whips are on 3, and Maitland Flood are playing now are on 0. And a wicket to Muddle, and he gets
Trapple.
That's a big wicket. Looks like he might have played on it.
I think he shopped on.
Yeah, I think he shopped on. Big wicket there.
Yeah, so back live here, obviously 3 wickets in fairly quick succession there have put the Flood under all sorts of pressure here.
Who's the new batsman, please, guys? Todd Francis, thank you. Todd Francis going in to replace Josh Trapple. Aaron's going off to deal with some technical issues at the moment again. We apologise for this. That's a big wicket. Francis coming out to replace Trapple. Dot ball, first ball. All good, big fella?
Yeah, I've just been to check. I just saw when that wicket was taken, the scorecard was flicked back to 1 for 13. I've just gone and checked in with the scorers, and that was deliberate. They just went back to change the person who affected the run out. So we're all on track. But
very good.
Very clever system we're dealing with here. It's fully integrated with My Cricket. So
that's one of the things I found in Canberra. It's great. It's direct integration.
Yes. So any changes the scorers make live will appear on the visuals on the screen that everyone can see at home or on their smart device or whatever they're viewing on. So I just wanted to check that was all on track, that the scorers have got everything under control. Should never panic.
Never.
Scorers have it all under control.
No, you don't. You be composed and you would know from your professional career, you don't be the problem, you find the solution, don't you?
That's true.
One of the things about live scoring is that you've got a book going there and things go wrong. Things can happen with live scoring. My cricket's had its gremlins at times.
Yep.
Just put it away, just let it settle, and you can always go back to it later. People will ring up, oh, what's going on with live scoring? You say, there's actually live scoring problems. We've got a book, just calm down.
Yep.
That's ways and means. The score check here is 3 for 14 early on, off 4 overs. Gabriel and Francis out there now. Muddle 1 for 2 off his first over. And Flynn Guest coming back on down here. And with that breeze, he's bowling slightly downwind. This will suit if he's going to bowl shaping into a right-handed batsman. Strong westerly to southwesterly blowing here at Lee Level. And as I said, that is a very unusual breeze here. That's offshore. Usually the breeze comes howling in from the right of screen to the left in the afternoons. But at the moment, totally different. A few clouds around too.
Yeah, well, the Whips will be desperate to get this game completed, obviously, given their position on the ladder. So that would throw up yet another permutation to the whole finals finishing. The Whips were to get their points here, and then the third game would have had some sort of weather delay. So
yep.
All action here today. shot.
Lovely shot. Geez, that's a nice shot. Is that 4? No, he's just going to get there, I think. Good bit of fielding in there. That was a very nice shot. Gabriel off his pads.
So we've had a fair bit of interest around some guest commentary stints throughout the rest of the afternoon, Dave.
Have we now?
Yeah, so we won't reveal who they are. We'll just
one of them a current New South Wales country player by chance?
possibly.
Okay.
Possibly.
Again, very tidy off his hip. They're going to have to get off his... They cannot bowl his legs clearly. He's very tidy there, Gabriel. Single to deep square. Real lack of boundaries at the start of this innings. And the flood yet to get really going.
So obviously we just need to thank the Newcastle City Council for their support, continued support of cricket in this particular tournament. Obviously they're a major sponsor for the City Newcastle Summer Bash. So thanks again for coming on board for another year, and it's great to be out at one of Newcastle's more picturesque grounds here at Lynn Oval for the day's play today. And as luck would have it, the only games that have gone ahead so far due to the weather. So.
I was thinking about that earlier on. That like you could have chosen any game for live stream. You chose the one where there's actually cricket on, which is great for our viewers and people interested in cricket. Guest here, again bowls outside. This time there's a wide. Gillard moves efficiently, shuffle step to stop the going further.
And it's also just worth mentioning that obviously this is our first go at putting some commentary to the visuals, so it's something that we're hoping in the future can be a part of all of our streams. So we will be looking for volunteers at Clubland.
Again, he's very tidy in there, isn't he? 1 there. That's 4 down the short bound. That's lovely. Interestingly, Guest has erred 3 times onto his pads in that over. He's gone for 2. He's gone for 7 off them. That was very tidy. The one that was impressive was that flick of his hips down there for 2. That was a lovely shot. And on a normal day, that's 4 at this ground. And if you do need commentators that call us next week, if you get short, please give me a call. I'm love to help out here.
You'll always be welcome. You'll be our anchor as often as you can be. We've got some other people in mind as well, of course, but I don't expect I'll be a regular in this particular seat. But having a great time today, all the same.
Being very comfortable commentator, I can assure you. It's been great to share the microphone with you. And that's the end of the over. A much better over for the flood. They're 24 now, off 5. And need to keep going. Guest is none for 14 off his 2 overs so far, which is standard. 6 and 7 on overs, not too bad in this format of the game. It was interesting watching the Big Bash the other night. They were talking about, in particular, Mark Steckity, who had a very good tournament. But as soon as he bowled in the power surge, they went chopper on him. And he's going for 17, 18 and over every time he bowls in the power surge. And it's really interesting. This is a bloke who's in consideration for Australian, and they just picked on him in that power surge. We're interested to see if they take power surge into international cricket. I would reckon that particularly in the IPL, it might be something they're right after, because that I think it adds to the game. Yeah. Be interested to see if they do it. Sometimes they can be a bit obstinate. Muddle again to Francis. Drives the ball down to long off.
You might remember, Dave, in the Plan B a few years ago, they brought in a thing called a maxi over.
That changed games completely.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about the maxi over.
The maxi over was designed to be all runs scored were worth double.
Off the bat.
So basically, it changed the way. I mean, you could be going really well, and then you call on a maxi over, and then people were not trying to just hit 1s to turn into 2s, but they were trying to pongo them and get the 12-run hits. And what you actually saw was a flurry of wickets in those overs throughout that tournament. It was a really interesting dynamic how it changed the way people played, to the point where people were pushing them right out to the end of their innings and playing them in the last couple of overs by the end of the tournament. And it didn't last long. I must admit it did make people think a lot differently about how they approach that over.
Well, this is the perfect format to trial in, because this form of the game is all about entertainment.
Yeah, so but
Gabriel's looking extremely comfortable here. Looks like a representative class batsman. He's very comfortable at the moment. If I can just keep going for a sec, that is the year that the Irana Outlaws won, and in the final they scored 34 off their maxi over.
That's true.
And I think you'll find that won them the tournament. They had some pretty handy players, Jordan Moran and Nathan Pill at the top of the order, but they got 34. I think Mitch Bauer was there at the end. And if you're listening, Mitchell, hello brother. But they went troppo right at the death. And I think a lot of people thought that was almost excessive and it bastardised the game completely. It was interesting, but they got rid of it quickly.
Yeah.
I like these power surges quite a bit more. I'm not convinced about the X factor. That's just a personal opinion, but I like the power surge. Francis again here. Muddle's bowling very nicely. He's got the length right. The way Gabriel is going, you'd almost be considering trying to get in the strike at the moment. Gets a fully, gets it to mid-wicket, hits it too well. Quick throw comes in. And those gates have gone open. Someone going across to fix those gates now. Thank you. Yes, and the teams that used the maxi over best actually played normal cricket shots and got their 7 or 8 or 9 over, and then it was worth double. They figured it out that it's actually worth hitting the ball on the ground. That might be a wide, it is. Muddle trying to bowl the ball the back of the hand, stuck in his hand and went for a wide. Francis needed a pool cue to play that one, or the fishing rods. 27 for 3, is that, or 26 for 3 now? 27 with the wide. Thank you. Full bunger, that might be a waste high. Just waiting to see the square leg umpire here. There's one, and it's stopped. They'll get 2 off the bat. Just waiting to see if they're going to call a no here. And it's 4 runs. Is there a no ball call? There's not. They're changing in, so that was just 4. Must have been very close to a bunger. Very close. He's a big, tall man, Francis. Anyway, well, that's the way it is. 4 runs off that last ball, important for the Flood. They need to get a good total here. As we saw earlier on, 140 is a good target on this pitch.
Yeah, I went out and had a look at it between matches.
Did you? And had it got many indentations from the ball?
Oh, it doesn't look too bad. They got the roller onto it in the break, but it's extremely firm, very hard. So I think it's dry. You can tell where they're marking their crease. It was a bit darker and obviously a little bit softer earlier in the day, but
and it's hardened up.
Baked up.
Look who's having a bowl now. The bloke that didn't bowl this morning, Ray Cooper, probably going to bowl off his half his run up, because if he's at his full run up, he'd be back on the circle.
Have you ever seen that? He just did 2 left arm bowl warm ups.
Yeah. As I was talking this morning, see if you can have a look at his feet, where his feet lands. Although he's not bowling full throttle, his back foot's not. That might be close and gone. Misses the full bunger. Cooper strikes first rock and gets the dangerous Gabriel out. LBW. Which is a shame because he was looking very comfortable. Score check is 4 for 31 for the Flood.
So just a quick shout out to a few of the clubs that are
yes, please do in
represented
Maitland
here today for the Flood. So the Flood's obviously a combined team made up of several clubs in Maitland. There's 2 Maitland teams that are entered into this tournament. So there's a Flood and the Maitland Magic. So this team today is represented by clubs West, City, North and Curry, by the looks of it. So
Steve Abel from Curry going in now, big man.
So yeah, shout out to those clubs. It's great to see them getting some of their players
and have
exposure to a different.
Have Maitland split their clubs so that if you're from one club, you can only go into one side? Do you know? Like
I believe so.
That's the way they've done it. Okay, right, okay.
I think there's a bit of flexibility. Obviously, we have the whole guest player clause as well. I think you'd be able to make submission if one team was flush with 12 players and the other team was short, for example, which I doubt would be an issue. But you could obviously use other players, but providing once they've played for that team, you can't go back.
Cooper again. Yeah. I was talking about that back foot earlier on. Have a look at when he lands, what his back foot does, and you can see the pressure. That might be a leg by down a short fine leg and is. So just have a look at where Cooper's back foot lands and the angle of his back foot compared to his front foot. Now, he's not at full throttle here. He's only bowling half rate power. But even then, I was watching his back foot, and it lands as and you can see the pressure that goes through his adductors.
This is off the back, of course, of game 1 where where Ray didn't bowl. We were advised he had a slight groin complaint. And then
that's a wide. That was sharp too.
Dave Redden here was discussing just some of the technical purposes behind that strain on his groin. And when he lands his feet, they're obviously one's almost pointing back towards mid-off, and the other one's pointing towards fine leg.
It's
so
not so pronounced with him off this run up, but when
Yes.
he's off his follow, it is, and it's still that back foot lands and swivels, but there's a lot of pressure going through that right adductor. Francis has absolutely mowed that. He has moosed that to cover, and it's 4.
It's a big boundary out there, and obviously today we've seen the outfield's a little slower than usual for Lynn Oval, given
And
the weather
against
that's
the
been
wind
around,
too.
and against the wind, and that's hit the pickets reasonably firmly.
4 for 37, the flood. Another full toss. Francis looking for a single from before the ball was bowled and gets his single to backward point. Abel back on strike now. This afternoon's 3 p.m. game is the Maitland flood against the Seagulls. That's coming to you at 3 p.m. on live streaming again.
It's going to be a real clash of the uniforms in that game, Dave.
Except that Stocko are playing in white shirts. That sort of helps us a bit. Dead ball should be called. Bale's flying off. Interesting little one I picked up from umpires training. When if the umpires decide to take the bails off due to wind and it's one particular end, they take them off at both, which I thought was a little interesting.
Yeah, okay.
Abel, poor fielding at backward point. Won't cost them more than a single though. Hands like Wally Gator there at backward point. And that's over. Abel retains the strike. Aaron, I'll get you a score check here in a minute. Weather looking iffy towards the southwest at the moment. Clouds starting to roll in again. The sun's basically gone. However, the outfield has dried right out. This breeze and the sun's really dried it out. It's not a bad day here. And our score check is 39 for 4. Is that 8 gone, Sue?
7.
7 gone. And I think this is our man, our leg spinner, Mr. Short, coming on. It is. He of the tattoos. Flynn guessed at Short, third man here. In fact, he's at 45 to the left-hander. I do beg your pardon. So the power play's done. So we've got a deep point, a long off, a long on, a deep cow. Has he got 5 in the ring at the moment? I can't see the 5th man out. In comes point to the ring. Mid-wicket is staying where he is, and Bailey. So he's only going to go with 4 out here. He's got 3 in the ring in the offside. Bailey's going to go around in. Yeah, he's coming in. So that's unusual. He's got 5 in the ring. So his deep fieldsman, a cow, long on, long off, and or is there only 3? I'll just check that out for you. Just bear with me.
There's 4 out.
There's 4 out there. Is good.
Deep point.
There's the. No, it wasn't a deep point there. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's actually 6 in the ring. So there's only 3 men in the boundary. Long off, long on, and it's at mid-wicket. And here comes square leg now. He's coming back to the fence now.
It's a good call, I think, because it's a very short boundary.
Oh, just gets a bat to that.
And although bowling in with a wet ball in the first game did drag a few, so the left-hander could latch onto a couple here. You never know.
Well, the left-hander's hitting downwind too. If he goes across hits with the spin here, Aaron. Throws it wide. Abel can't get it. Gillard keeps it in front of him. No run. Short to Abel. Goes to Mo. Succeeds in getting it to Bailey Singh at the back of the ring at mid-wicket, as he did all for the entire first innings of the first match. Brings Francis on strike. The field will change quite significantly. In come the 2 men who are on the leg side fence. Out go deep in wicket and deep square. Bailey should come across into the slot, I'd imagine, on the leg side. No, he's going to leave no one in the ring except at 45 on the leg side. There's 3 in the ring, 4 in the ring on the offside. Guest is down here at a short third man. Francis got all sorts of opportunities for singles and 2s on the leg side. Gets a full bunger. Hits it straight to mid-wicket on the ground. No risk cricket there. Hasn't bowled one short, Aaron. He bowled a few short earlier on this morning, but his length's been much better in this small stint.
And we must say too that the conditions were probably not great for a leg spinner.
Very damp, whereas now he's got a dry ball.
Very dewy
Correct.
ball. So he's probably.
That's massive. Get that out, Alexis. That's a massive Zach. And that's the one they need. They need to get going. if you're going to get going, what better way than hitting it to the surf club at Stockton?
Interestingly, too, not his worst ball. You know,
Nope.
he's actually hit length there, and he's just lashed onto that. So, a couple of fullies, hasn't dragged one yet, but massive shot.
Just checking that score on Aaron's phone here. I'm confident that's 4 for 47. I think that says 7.6 overs, which means it's 8. So 47 for 4. Big slog sweeping 6 there from Abel. And on will come. I think this is Alex Cook from the southern end. It is. Francis on strike. Bailey getting his field right, putting Muddle across into short cover. Bailey will stay in the ring like a good skipper should. 1, 2, he's got. That's interesting. Where's the fourth man in the ring? 1, 2. Actually, aren't they one man short? Yeah, here he comes now. I thought they were a man short. In comes fine leg up to inside the ring. That gives them 4 inside the ring. Otherwise, it would have been a no-y and a lock and load.
So just to clarify, when you say one man short, they do obviously have 11 fielders out there, but we're referring to...
Please go, yep.
One man short for fieldsmen inside the ring. So that was well spotted.
So yes, you must have 4 men inside the ring at the point of delivery at all times after the power play's finished. 4. And you've got to have 4 men on the offside at all times as well. Straight back to Cook. He's done well so far. How are your dulcet tones sounding, Mr. Gray? All right, mate?
Mate, I'm good. Sorry, I've been a little bit distracted this game. Sorry, just
No, it's totally. No, you got technical issues cause issues.
Mate,
it's my job to be the gibber. You're the OIC.
I'll let other people decide how my dulcet tones are.
Trouble if he hits.
Oh.
The long off should have been off the ring straight away, but he probably still couldn't have stopped that single. Single to Francis. I reckon he was in trouble if that was a direct hit. I reckon he's more trouble than a Werribee duck.
And it was difficult for the bowler to get back there, obviously after his follow through, and the ball coming in from the offside. So one overthrow as well.
Abel back on strike to Cook here. Fine legs in the ring. Abel goes large. Oh, he's caught. That is a superb interception at mid-wicket. Gee, that's a good catch by Luke Muddle. That was flying.
That's a full stretch dive to the left. Taken a...
Talk for a right-handed guy.
Yeah.
Again.
Taken it probably only, 20 centimetres off the ground. It was...
When you come to this level, you've seen it with me when we went away. You can see the guys that have done hours of training with the fielding. They take, like Trent Park took a very good catch in the last game. That was a smart interception. And the guys that do take hundreds of balls, I remember some of the Newcastle cricketers talking about when Greg Geese was coach of Newcastle. He'd hit hundreds of balls to them. And their hands would be sore, but they knew what to do. And Muddle, who's been through the pathways and has played for representative cricket, that was a very smart interception.
Did I hear you mention Geese, Ben?
Greg Geese.
Greg Geese, yeah. Now you've had a fielding session. After a session with him, your hands are very, very sore.
I still hear people speaking about it today that there were blokes that come off their hands were red raw because Geese had to wang them at them and do it repeatedly. Drill it in. They make a failure, you'd go at them. Let's get 100 right, you know. That sort of hard-nosed attitude. And people still speak of him in reverent tones. I think still the top individual score in the history of NDCA cricket is Greg Geese's. Something like 270. I think he actually made it here. Someone was telling a story, they dropped him when he was 50, did a Brian Lara and dropped him, but he made 270.
So in terms of an individual highest score?
Individual highest score, I think that might be the top score ever.
Okay.
Muddle again, a very smart intersection this time on the ground.
I don't know the answer to that one, but you're probably right. I know you've got great memory recall. I do know that Simon Moore is encroaching on his record of most centuries.
Okay.
I do believe. I think that there's only a handful between the two. And I would say Greg played well into his late 40s in first grade. And Simon looks like he's doing something similar. So
And Simon doesn't. To Simon's credit, he still keeps himself extremely fit. He doesn't carry any weight. And when you, in no disrespect to Simon, when you get to his age, if you are carrying weight, it makes it extraordinary. How quickly you go downhill when you're carrying even 6-7 extra, and he's lean and still fit, and still a hard unit. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Doesn't give away much to SG Moore.
Well,
One of the greatest cricketers in the history of New South Wales country ever. And his record for New South Wales country is unsurpassed.
Well, his club record is fantastic too. Obviously, he's
ridiculous.
Held that team unit together over there now for well over 15 years.
Francis and Foster here. Francis on strike. Short gets him a fully. Does he take toll? No, he doesn't. Just gets the one. And that's going to open up again. Short here to Foster, batting without helmet. Is he gone first ball? No, Gillard got him off, but he kept his back foot down. Absolutely beautiful motorhome coming on the right of screen. For someone that's owned one, that is a beautiful bit of kit.
So we've just got some overcast conditions back here now, and that breeze has really kicked up, hasn't it?
It's not unpleasant under here in the Aaron Gray commentary box. It's going okay. He's got 5 men back for Foster now. Not going to take a risk with short bowling. Short. And that one doesn't actually bounce very much. It stayed a bit low. So just to run through the field for you for the right-hander, there's a fine third man, a backward point, sweeper at cover. Short extra cover, the skipper Bailey, long off. Short mid-wicket, and deep mid-wicket, long on, and deep backward square. Bit of a leading edge to that one. Short actually bowling quite nicely here. His figures, he's going 10 balls, none for 9, so he's going along okay. Trying to restrict boundaries as much as possible.
Including one massive bomb. So
yeah, that's right.
The rest of his balls are
short,
accumulating a lot of dots.
That's the one area he can afford to drop short. He's hit it to the sweeper. Yes, when you take out that one bomb out of the innings, he's bowled quite nicely.
And obviously the left-hander's not there anymore, so much more comfortable bowling to 2 right-handers.
Fully again, he's got to take advantage of one. Does. Hits it to the bowling greens, that's 6. Eventually a full toss he had to take Toller one, he's got one. And mows it over towards the bowling green, that's 6. Actually the breeze got that a bit, it helped it over.
It did. It looked like the fielder was settling under it for just a couple of seconds, but then he quickly watched it go over his head.
We're halfway through the innings, 5 for 56. Francis has got to bat through 20 here for him. It's as simple as that, Aaron. He actually hasn't taken too many risks. 5 for 56 off 10. Cook to come on from the southern end, Aaron.
Crisp timer of the ball, you know, that cover drive he hit, and obviously that was a nice big one there. Interesting. I might just ask if they had much cricket on yesterday up in Maitland. So just give me a tip.
Any cricket on in Maitland yesterday? All washed out? Okay, there you go.
So yeah, all cricket washed out in Maitland yesterday. So everyone's here fresh.
And got him straight through Cook. Goes through Foster there, going for the big hit. 6 for 56 now, the flood. Down my on the Central Coast, I don't think there's much cricket played. You'd need snorkels on most of the grounds. That was very wet. And there were 2 games that got on that started yesterday. One was at Pasterfield, and they started late. Got to none for 7, and then the rain came.
Yep.
And that's right. In Newcastle, in NDCA cricket, on turf wickets this is. And then in second grade here, weather was favourable and some hard work, got a game of cricket on. So Threlfo 9, Smith 1, Trappel 1. Gabriel 8, Francis is 22 not out, Abel 8, and Foster 0. Carl Bowd is going in, and it's 6 for 56 or 5 for 56? I think it might be 6. 6 for 56 now. Bowd coming on, and Cook gets Cook's got the superb figures of 2 for 1. Belmont have got them where they want them at the moment.
Yeah, they do, and obviously they'll be looking to accumulate some really good quotient in this game as well. As we said, we'll go back to it, but yeah, a win here for the Whips will mean they go to 6 points. And then obviously the Seagulls play this afternoon, and if they win, they would also go to 6 points, which would mean that quotients will absolutely be critical as to which one of those teams finishes third.
I'll bring up that ladder in the second innings. We'll bring it up again and we'll chat about it, okay?
Sure.
Noting, of course, that all games at Kahibah have been abandoned, and Aaron will get us some information later on. There's an inspection at Townsend at 1 o'clock for the 3 o'clock set there. And we'll just wait and see. That would, I imagine, be the Maitland Magic and Merriweather playing in the late game. I think Maitland were playing there as well. Yes, they were. So I'm sure that's the Magic. Is it this afternoon at the Townsend?
Possibly,
we'll check
yeah.
the draw.
I think
we'll check the draw out.
The West would have been the first 2 games, so...
Yeah, West would have played Merriweather than Maitland,
Yep.
and then Maitland played the split because they're at home. Sorry, Merriweather played the split because they're at home.
So we've been very fortunate in recent seasons with the Summer Bash. We've had very little rain-affected matches.
Yep.
Particularly our midweek stuff. We haven't really had any midweek rain-affected matches. I think this year, only last Thursday was the first time I can remember rain actually abandoning a match.
Misses his run up, and accordingly throws it down the leg side. Did the old Josh? Those of you who don't know, Josh Kennedy plays for the West Coast Eagles. He's got a traditional stutter step when he's running the kick for goal. that looked like him because he just lost his feet there.
So he's wearing the right colours for the West Coast Eagles.
He's wearing the right colours for the Eagles, who were a little bit disappointing last year. Didn't like the hub very much and faded out of the finals. I think they'll come back hard this year in the Australian Football League.
That's about the extent of my AFL knowledge there, Dave.
Very good, and gets his run up right this time. Lovely cut shot and bunted down and stopped and kept in front of him at backward point by Greg Hunt, who does have magnificent hands. He is if ever you get a chance to watch Greg Hunt fielding in the slips, he's got absolute buckets in the slips. He's as good a fieldsman in the slips as Simon Moore is. And I do say that as genuinely. That one goes wide. That might be a double. He's got it to his left. 1, and he will come back for 2. Good running. You can hear in the background. 6 for 59. Here at Lynn Oval at Stockton. Aaron Gray and David Redden here with you live streaming, with thanks to the Newcastle City Council for their wonderful support of the NCC Summer Bash. Last day of round cricket, and then the quarterfinals are next Sunday. We'll talk about that later on too, Aaron, when we get a chance.
Yeah, we'll run through it. Obviously, it's a very interesting day of cricket to... Oh!
You were slow at the blocks there too. Cooper getting the ball to a perfect bounce throw to Gillard, but safe.
It's like it was a relatively comfortable single.
Francis loitering on the back foot there. Yeah. Francis loitering on the back foot there and running up.
Howdy, how are you? Brian, how are you? All right. Yeah, Eddie? Hello, you out?
Dot ball there, nicely bowled by Cook.
So yeah, the Whip's right on top here, obviously. Really capitalised on taking a steady flow of wickets.
Just charging up the iPad here to watch some cricket. So we've got the live coverage and so we can see scores and things like that. think that was it just at the top there, was it? There we go.
So let's go to, sorry, I just want to go through.
So Dom Simon's coming back on at the northern end.
I just want to go through the match centre.
No problems. Simon's getting his field right. Bailey going to the square of the two points. There's a man basically short third man. In comes Simons to Bowd. Hits it out to Bailey at point. No run. Woods firmly in control here at Lynn Oval. Francis has got a bat deep here. Very deep. Bowd can't get that one away. Another dot ball. Simons to Francis. Beats him in flight there. So, thank you, Aaron. That's great. Looking at the, watching all this on the iPad now. 6 for 60 is the score. 11.3 overs gone.
So at the end of this over, they've obviously got
That's a
6.
6. That's the most casual 6. I can't believe that went for 6. He's just moosed that. And must have hit the fence on the full. 6 runs bow. That was effortless. And that's an unbelievable shot, really. I thought that was possibly 2. We're at the wrong side of the ground. I couldn't see the ball from here.
No, I couldn't either. So, we'll talk about the end of the over.
And good cricket. Gets the single after the 6. 6 for 67, the flood.
So obviously 1 ball to go, or 2, yeah, 1 ball to go in this over. We've got 8 overs to go, 4 wickets in the shed. How do you approach the rest of this game, Dave, to try and get yourself competitive?
You stay there. You don't let them get 8 or 9 down early. I think you can't muck around until even the 18th over. You're just going to keep on going. Errant shot there from Francis and gets away with it. That's over. 6 for 67 after 12. If what I would be doing, the plan would be that Francis continues to stay there. If Bowd could continue to take advantage of it, but their target should be at the moment 20 overs and take what they can get. 139 was pivotal, was a good score this morning. I don't think they're going to get that with only 4 in the shed. But these two, I think, have got a fat jet. Flynn Guest coming back on at the Tree of Knowledge end, or the southern end here at Stocko.
So obviously it's great to have an expansion on our normal 12 district teams in the Summer Bash. Obviously today we've seen the Maitland flood. I know that we've, over at Townsend Oval today you've got the Maitland Magic. And the other team that is obviously an entry into this competition is the Suburban District's Rebels.
The Rebels, yes.
So that's a combined team made up of our new competition. So it's great to have some visiting teams, and sure it'd be great to see a few more in the future as well.
Guest bowls that one through at full pace, beats him.
So yeah, and obviously
from Gillard.
just on our guest teams, if you like, the Maitland Flood here today is sponsored by Entire Trades, who obviously support them and this team to participate in this competition. And I'll take the liberty of the front jersey sponsor of Belmont.
That's a catch. Nice work from Gillard moving to his left. Guest again getting wickets. Bowed. Chasing one outside off stump. That's 7 for 67.
It was a neat catch.
Was a neat catch. Oh, he's got very good footwork. You know when you see keepers who've got lovely hands when they go left to right. But the key to being a keeper is not your glove work. It's getting your feet in the right place to have the glove work in the first place. And when you see really good keepers, they've got that shuffle step. Ian Healy was one that should always worked on his lateral movement. Peter Neville, the New South Wales keeper, is another one. Gillard's got lovely feet. He doesn't dive first, he shuffles first, and then he goes. And again, he's got Shane Burley, who's one of the finest keepers Newcastle's used in years. He's his club coach.
Yes.
And Burley spends a lot of time with his keepers. And he's also got Marcus Haynes to watch every time. And Marcus is tall for a keeper. Like Joey's the night size for a keeper. Marcus is tall, but they've both got excellent footwork.
Just speaking of Shane quickly, we'll touch on, obviously, he's been an integral part of the Stockton Cricket Club as well. Named in a couple of teams of the decade recently, and possibly a team of the 50 years as well. Can you elaborate more on that, Dave, if you can recall that?
I tell you what, there were some good cricketers in that side. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Oh man, there were some good cricketers. Yeah, look, great to see Nick Foster there, Shane Burley, the keeper of that side. So to be honest, I'm 52. There's a lot of guys who played in the 70s and 80s. I wasn't even living in Newcastle, so I don't know them. But there were some first-class cricketers, James Hogg there, who's a superb. I went up with a golf day with Hoggy. He was into his 60s and he smokes the golf ball. Like I like to think I hit a golf ball hard, but he's half my size. Well, those days he was, and he outdragged me by 50 metres.
Yeah, right.
Well, mind you, I was sitting behind tries at Littlewood hitting the golf ball, and they hit it into orbit as well. Those two. Just some terrific cricketers. Yeah. I'm very pleased to see that Nick Foster was there, and Burley, who's a superb keeper, just great hands. And when Ronnie Hancock had a lot to do with that side. And I sort of looked at some of the records of those players and their scores. It'd be interesting if Graham Onions had stayed longer at Stockton. He probably would have gone in that side because he's one of the few Test cricketers that plays for Stockton.
Yes,
Chris Lewis is another one.
I had the unfortunate experience of playing Onions. He got me out twice in a day.
Sharpish.
Well, it wasn't so much that, just made the ball talk well. I mean, I didn't face many rocks, to be fair, but he took 2 fifers in 2 innings against us out at Ron Hill.
I was going to say, was that at JR Ron Hill? Yeah. Quick single there, that was at JR Ron Hill?
Yeah, so I wouldn't have said it wasn't pace, he just phenomenal. Just the outswing and the movement off the wicket that he was getting that other bowlers weren't, you know. Yeah, there's a few. I mean, I'm not one of his high-level scalps, but there's a few good ones in that day. So,
I remember he played in the SCG Cup final when Stockton made their own salsa SCG Cup final.
That would have been the same year.
Yeah.
So yeah, you would have had Toole, Price, Hemming. And
the great Jeffrey was there, was he?
Bodiger.
Hemming's playing very well. Jamie Bodiger. Hemming's playing very well for the entrance captain of first grade down there, and they're going very nice in the comp. Yeah, it is.
So yeah, good, not a bad team, but Onions too good for us.
Did you? I'm not sure where you were at this stage, if you actually live in Orange, but Toronto and Hamwicks played an epic semi-final at Rye Orange of the.
Yeah.
Did you play that day?
I did. Yeah. Jeff Hemming
made. He was whacking Reese. Oh, goodness me.
Yeah, he did. He bailed us out too.
Wide ball called, and no extras, just the one wide. Because that was the last game. The other game at Wade Park had finished. And Hemming was playing. Reece Serber, both very good cricketers. Hemming was he smoked them that day.
We were he used to bat sort of like a keeper does, around 6 or 7, and I'd say he came in that day 5 for 50, 5 for 60, and got us home. And I think we played Stockton the next day, and Phillips got a ton. And
yes, that's right. At Wade or at Rye
that was at Rye as well.
Okay.
Played back to back at Rye, yeah. But they were good trips. The Country Cup. No more, obviously. We have the Plan B Regional Bash.
We have the Plan B Regional Bash.
Which
got that fine. Will it be more than a single? No, it's not.
Obviously, the Plan B Regional Bash still gives country players the opportunity to play at the SCG. And we've got 2 teams going through next week, which is a great segue.
Tim Cox actually asked us to mention that, so I'm going to do that. The Great Development Officer for the Lake Macquarie region, Timothy Dennis Cox. So Plan B Regional Bash, Monday the 8th of February at the magnificent SCG. Francis gets that one straight. And in fact, slight misfield by Lumpy and gets a single. So, FCG, Monday, February 8th. So the 10 o'clock set is Newcastle Blasters versus Lake Macatac. The 2 o'clock game is the ACT Aces against the Arana Outlaws. And for those that don't know, the Arana area is around Dubbo. That might be wide, or has he got a bat to know? He's got the hold of that. There's one down to a very fine leg and just a double. And so it's ACT versus Arana at 2 o'clock, and then the winners of those games play in the finals under lights at the SCG at 6 o'clock. The Plan B Regional Bash final. So the final 4, Newcastle Blasters, Lake Macatac, ACT Aces, and Arana Outlaws. That's hit his pad. I've just seen the ACT side that the nuclear side was playing a couple of weeks ago in Canberra, and there's a very young side, mostly young side, that are very well attuned to playing T20 cricket, Aaron, and they're going to be. I think they're the danger for all four sides. They are the most dangerous one there.
Excellent. Of course, there'll be some form of streaming from that venue on the day, whether it's
one. And as he's coming back, he's not. Just the single. Guest gets it. Ordinary throw from Flynn. He won't be pleased with that, but he's not.
Just a quick update from Townsend Oval. So the 3 p.m. game will proceed based on the umpires clearing it safe to play. So the ground will be handed over to the umpires.
And then it's up to them. So the rules of cricket are once the curator gives the ball around the umpires, it's the umpire's call. So 3 o'clock game at this stage is still on at Townsend if you're in that beautiful part of Newcastle. Francis has got a bit of that, but only gets the single. And that'll finish the over. That's 14 gone, 7 for 75. If they would love to get 120 here, and Francis is going to have to get most of them. So yeah, that'll game I'm sure will be live streamed Monday, February 8th from the SCG, 10, 2 and 6, with the Newcastle Derby first up. The Newcastle Blasters against the reigning champions, the Lake Mac Attack. Nick Foster captaining the Blasters, and our good mate Adrian Chad captaining the purple and yellow of the Lake Mac Attack. And cannot wait for the day. Should be anytime you get to go to the SCG is big. Yes, this take was just a little bit dodgy, and it's okay now. Flynn Guest again from the left-hand innings. Simons has 19 off 3. Francis is 24 and Fisher's 5. This is Guest's last one. He's got 1 for 15 off 3. Francis 24 and Fisher is 5. Guest from the ferry end. Inside edge from Francis and gets an easy single over to Dan Bailey, sweeping in from mid-wicket.
It's getting quite warm here, Dave. I know I've been giving some regular weather updates, but if people that aren't here obviously wouldn't know. But we've had patches of overcast most of the day, and then the sun comes out and it just turns up the temperature by about good 5 or 6 degrees plus humidity.
Although it's nothing like as muggy as it was. Yeah, actually, with that breeze, it's actually quite pleasant here.
It's not unpleasant. Absolutely.
Not at all. Gets an outside edge to that one, Fisher, down to the fine third, and that fine third man will go. He will stay fine for the lower order batsman.
Okay.
He'll stay there.
Very fine.
Now what Jed Dixon was the first one I saw it, and Nick Foster. As soon as the tail ends start to come in, they will put that third man there fine, because as they start to try and hoy them, they're going to get finer edges. That's the way they're thinking, and that's why he's so fine.
They're not working and like they do the third man. They're there for a genuine edge.
And that player's there not to get beaten to his left.
Yeah.
So that's why he's fine. Francis with a shorter one from Guest, who's bowled that shorter balls variety all day, Aaron, and just got purchase in the pitch. The flood bowlers behind us will be watching, I'm sure, as to how this pitch is behaving.
I just think, I think you're right. Francis has to be there in the 20th over. I know that was short, but probably just preservation of wicket at the moment. 7 wickets down. Looks like he's just trying to.
Yeah, he's actually put the foot down a bit. Yeah. Straight to Bailey, sweeping in at the ring at mid-wicket, as he's been all day. 7 for 77. Derivative of Nelson. 14.4 gone. Guest is 1 for 17. Francis 25. Fisher 6. The Maitland flood 7 for 77. And he's got him. So Francis has decided to go, and Guest takes what I think is a very important wicket. 8 for 77 now. Francis made a good fighting 25 off 27 rocks. Out comes Sean Gibson, who is a left-arm first finger spinner. Aaron plays for Central Northern the last couple of years.
Okay.
We played him at Sawyer Oval at the last year. He bowled quite well on a pitch with a little bit in it, and then we played him again this year at Tuggerah, and quite a good left-arm first finger spinner. Bowled good variation.
Well, they'll need every part of him today, because he's going to have to bowl really economically and try and jag a few wickets as well.
Yeah, and he's got a various pace on this pitch. The faster balls could actually do some damage. Lucas Sargent and Trent Park walking past us. Hello, men. Both from the Hunter Valley themselves, now playing for Stockton. How are you, gentlemen?
So yeah, with just over five overs and a couple of balls, it's pretty important they bat the time out here. They've got to really get themselves through the 20th over.
Can't leave
Scorecard's just up now.
You cannot leave rocks. France is the top score, 25. Only the player to make double figures has been Bowd with 10. Extras are 8, 1 leg by and 7 wides. So Gibson's gone out there to bat with Fisher. Guest to Fisher. Drops one at his feet. Lumpy coming in from backward point. Sorry, Greg Hunt. And that is a very fine spell from Flynn Guest. 2 for 17. So Flynn Guest today, 2 for 20 and 2 for 17 in his spells. Very fine work from the Newcastle Colt. The Maitland Flood, 77 for 8 after 15 overs. Dom Simons to come back on at the northern end, or the bowling club end here at Stocko.
This last over.
Bailey none for 3 off 1. Simons none for 19 off 3. Guest finished with 2 for 17. Excellent figures for Guest. Muddle 1 for 9 off 2. Cooper 1 for 7 off 1. Short none for 16 off 2. And Alex Cook got the figures at the moment, 2 for 5 off 2. But a very good performance from the young Tyro Guest. 2 for 17, backing up his 2 for 20 this morning. Simons with the ball, bowling to Fisher. Fisher's got to take responsibility here. He's got to push singles and do what they can. Goes with the slog sweep and gets it. Should be looking for 2. That's the long boundary. Nope. Just get the single. Brings the left-handed Gibson back onto strike. Aaron Gray and David Redden here with you at Lynn Oval and Stockton. The second of a 3-set today. This afternoon sees the host, the Seagulls, playing the Maitland Flood. That game from 3 p.m. this afternoon.
Yep, and I think it's going to come down to that game as to who finishes in the third position on the pool.
Remember that Stockton's quotient before this morning was diabolical, and everything's got to go right for Stockton. Very nicely bowled to Gibson, just gets it out to point. Simon's another one who wears the pressure bandages on either arm. Bailey always has the pressure bandage on whenever he plays cricket, or the undershirt, whichever. Mitchell Lowell's another one that favours them. Hello, Lowley, if you're listening. Another dot ball to Gibson. He's really got to probably look now at getting the strike to Fisher. Simons on the back foot, gets him on the back foot. Gibson just bunts it straight back to Simons. Another dot ball. 8 for 78 here at lovely Lynn Oval. Just across the pond from the Hunter River, from Newcastle and the Hunter. Another nicely flighted ball to Gibson. Those of you that don't know where Stockton is, the Hunter River comes in, the mouth of the Hunter River is right next to the centre of Newcastle, and across the river directly, just about 1,000, 1,500 metres across, is Stockton, sitting on a little peninsula. Gets him on the back foot again. That's a very good over from Dom Simons. That's superb bowling. Finishes with none for 20 off 4. And just keeps into a single in that oval. It's 78 for 8 or 8 for 78 after 16 overs. Been busy posting on Facebook, have you, Mr. Social Media King?
Mate, I've got to share the fact that I'm sitting next to the media mogul himself.
Media mogul. Settle down.
Mr. Redden. So we've got 4 overs left here, and 8 for 78. The key would obviously be to see out the remaining overs, set themselves up with a total to try and defend against the whips in the second innings here.
Alex Cook from the southern end is the change of bowler, with Flengest having bowled out. What the whips actually need is a quick finish to get, and then a really good run chase to really, that quotient becomes crucial.
Yep.
Missing leg for mine. Speaking of T20, the Sydney Sixers finishing up the Perth Scorchers last night at magnificent Manuka Oval. And the Sixers go through. And Perth awaits the winner of the qualifier between the Brisbane Heat and the Sydney Thunder. Assuming the Sixers will want to play their final at Manuka, they've played almost the entire tournament there.
So, Dave,
Quick single here, and they get home comfortably. Big man.
just touching on your other hobbies, if you like, and we did joke a little earlier about you being the doyen of podcasting and YouTubing, but just for those tuning into this game, just give us a bit of a rundown of what you do in some other media channels.
I don't want to labour the issue again. You're embarrassing me a little bit. I've started podcasting reasonably frequently in a couple of different sporting areas. Just Gibson's got one, and just get one. So last year I started doing some voluntary podcasts for NDCA reviews and got some good feedback from that. Started during this year. During 2020 I did some AFL and AFL Hunter Central Coast podcasts with my great friend Lucas Holmes. And then Nick Foster made me a decision and said, Redders, do you know much about Spotify with podcasting? I said, no, because I was putting it on Google Drive. So went into that and started going on Spotify. So I'm doing NDCA podcasts, doing some country cricket ones when I'm cricket hour, and a few of those. NFL podcasting, and also get back in. I'm doing a Newcastle cricket podcast with my great friend Dan Proud and the Proud on Redders podcast. And as we'll talk about earlier, he's such an intelligent guy, knows everybody in cricket, and he's got a really dry wit, and he sort of bounces off me really well. We work well together, I think.
And how does anyone find these podcasts?
So if they go onto Spotify, just go and type in Redders Sports Podcasts. And there's a whole different array. There's quite a lot of them building up already. NFL, AFL and cricket, and different types of cricket as well. As I said, representative. I did some podcasting up at quick ones at the Colts tournament up there at Tamworth. So I'm doing that as well whenever Newcastle there. Did some at country level as well. And I'll try to do some at Plan B and also at the state country final when Newcastle play Riverina coming up shortly. But yeah, doing that. Also, my wife and I have a YouTube cooking channel called Redden's Kitchen.
I'm glad you mentioned it, because that was the next one I was just going to say. Don't forget.
Yeah, and we have a YouTube cooking channel called Redden's Kitchen, which we've been doing cooking videos for about 5 or 6 years, and do that from our lovely house at Woy, and I really enjoy that when I get the time. And that's a lot of fun as well. I love cooking. Someone says, "Oh, do you watch MasterChef?" And I go, "No, MasterChef's about chefs, but that is about almost artwork. It's just such high level stuff. I can't do that. I just cook things that I want to eat.
Yeah.
All right, just cook meals that and that's our gambit, and that's what we do. So dot ball there from Muddle. Muddle back on at the northern end. So thank you for the opportunity again, but no, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, it's very good. Tune in and have a listen if you haven't already. Spotify, Redden's Sports Podcasts.
Redders Sports Podcast. Going by the nickname. Joey Gillard standing up to Luke Muddle now. Luke won't be like that. You watch this one be a yard quicker. No, it's not. Oh, it's got to go to the right. Greg Hunt's brilliant. Oh, and he misses the stumps. And he misses the stumps, and is there an overthrow coming in off the ring quickly. That was almost a comedy of errors. That's an interesting dot. Average running, held the throw off. Probably could have had a ping, actually. That would have been entitled to do that. 8 for 81. Flood trying to get to 100, really. Fisher's got to get him. Muddle to Fisher. Gets that. That's Gonski's. And downwind. That's massive.
Monster.
Off towards the surf club again. That's big. 8 for 87.
Inside out over cover.
Inside out, and Aaron taking advantage of that breeze. It got up in the air and just took off. $15 now for Fisher off 17 rocks. 8 for 87.
Well, as you said earlier, if they can find a way to get a few more of those away and sneak their way up towards 120.
Wrong length there. I'm wondering if that would have been outside edge. The way that Gillard's reacting, perhaps not. That was a yard quicker from Muddle too. $8 for 87 is the score. Possible guest commentators just joined us on the right-hand side. New South Wales country player and Toronto captain Adrian Chad. Lake Mac captain as well. G'day, Chatty. Good, thank you. Been talking about the Plan B. A couple of big day coming up in about 8 days' time for all of us.
Absolutely.
Back to back for Lake Mac in purple and yellow.
We'll get Chatty on for a chat a bit later. Possibly in the third game if he's still around.
Gibson taking on the fieldsman there and getting a very handy 2. 8 for 89. Fisher on 17 now. Sorry, Aaron. Very good cricket. He's gone 6-2-1, gets 9 off 3 rocks. Or 9 off 4, actually. Good cricket, Fisher. Retains the strike as well. 8 for 90 off 18. And they need to try and find a way to get 110, 120 if they can. If that last 6 is an indication, he can certainly go large if he has to. So, did you want to have a chat with Chatty on air, or?
Oh, we will in the third game, I think.
No problems.
Yeah, I think we've got Josh Trappel coming to have a quick chat here in the 19th.
If I know Chatty, he's got the phone tab account out open looking for Sunday races, have you, big fella? Very good. Who you got, Tampa or Kansas City next week, big man?
Gotta go with the experience, with Brady, Tampa.
In my mind, the heart says Tampa, but the brain says Kansas City. They're just lethal, but it'll be great. And of course, we'll be out in the middle. We'll be actually cricket. We won't get to see a minute of the Super Bowl because we've got the 10 o'clock game and the Super Bowl starts at 10:30 next Monday morning. So
Far more important game of the SCG.
far more important the game of the SCG. Plan B regional bash finals. Newcastle and Lake Mac followed by ACT and Arana. And then the final at 6 o'clock. Dot ball to Fisher. Cook getting the right length there.
Go and find Josh Trappel.
If we can. And it's interesting, Bailey has hardly bowled this innings. He's giving the other guys a crack. Cook's actually doing a good job here, but a superb job, actually 2 for 8 of 3.2. Fisher gets that one, that'll be a leg bye. Just waiting for Kieran Knight. If he's got his left hand out, this will be a leg bye. And is 8 for 91. Sean Gibson on strike now. It's 8 for 91. Fisher doing a solid job at here. Needs to be there on the last ball, the 20th over. Gibson actually plays that quite well. But straight to Dan Bailey at point. Let me know, Aaron. Welcome to the microphone, the captain of the Maitland Flood, Josh Trappel. Josh, thank you for joining us. Great to have you here, mate. How's things?
Hey, mate, it's good to be back.
Good to be back playing. Yeah, no cricket in Maitland yesterday, the boys are telling me.
Nah, we got washed out, so a little bit unfortunate. But it's good to get on today, so it's good. Couple of games here.
Yeah, we're very lucky. There's so much cricket being called off elsewhere. We're lucky, but we actually got cricket on here yesterday, and we've tried to get games cricket on today. It's important for everybody. So
it's kind of known for out here, that isn't it, with the sand sort of outfield and
exactly, Josh. With the drainage, just from your experience playing here many times, it can be wet elsewhere, but the water seems to go through here quite quickly, which is great.
Yeah, the wicket's holding up reasonably good considering the rain we've had for the last 3 or 4 days, so it's good.
It's not perfect, but it's not been a dangerous pitch by any means. Just a single there. Just want to see if that's a leg bite from Kieran Knight, and it is. And that's at the end of the 19th. That'll be 92. Boys are going to have to bowl. Well, they'll probably take wickets early and get some wickets in the power play, I'd imagine, in the next half an hour, Trap.
Yeah, the early wickets are key in that first 6 hours. So when I was out there, I was saying that 120 looked past score on this wicket, so if we can get a couple of early ones,
put pressure on
and put pressure on them, and we'll see what this batting lineup's got.
Is Gibson likely to bowl in the power play?
Probably not. If I do go spinner, it'll probably be Todd Francis.
Okay.
Todd's very well experienced. He's actually the leading wicket taker or player of the year up in Maitland at the moment. Yeah, he's very handy left arm offie, so.
Plays with your club, City?
Yeah, he does. Yep. Big wrap there. So he's very well controlled with his
lands them,
where he lands them, and etc. So it'll be quite easy to set a field to him if need be. But
you're going to come on and bowl some right arm rockets, Strap?
I'm too old for that now, mate. Retired from the bowling scene, I think.
Gibson gets a single, which he needs to do here, down to fine third man. Go ahead, mate.
But it'll be interesting to see who they open with and who their top 4 is. So that will decide my bowling attack.
Well, Greg Hunt and Luke Muddle open up this morning. Whether they change things up this afternoon, you don't know. Muddle's very much in that pinch hitting opening role. Got 16 off one over here and then ran himself out.
Yeah, right. Well, hopefully we can get Huntsy early then. That'd be good too.
My memory tends, in fact, it's a very strong memory, is of Josh Trappel facing Greg Hunt in a T20 game at Newcastle #1 Sports Ground, and Josh Trappel depositing him into the creek on a couple of occasions in the last over T20. Ring a bell for Hamwick's, Joshua?
No, it doesn't. No.
Yes, it does. He's sitting here. He's got red as a beetroot over here. He knows about it.
I was disappointed to see that he didn't bowl to me when I was out there.
A few seasons ago when Josh was playing for Hamilton Wickham. Fisher's got that straight and hard, but he don't think he can get it through. Gibson's got to go for 2 and does. He's quick out the blocks. Double there. 8 for 97, so 100 looks at, and it looks like they're going to get through 20 overs. Fisher's actually done a solid job down the order. That 6 he hit over cover, he's murdered that. He's moosed it. Breeze got it, but it went a long way.
He just leaned in it as well. It didn't actually.
It wasn't a big swing, just good timing. Yeah. Inside out off drive. Nearly ended up at the beach, that did. Now, how is City going in first grade up in Maitland, Trap?
Very well. We started the season really well. We come back after Christmas with a good solid win against Snam at Morpeth.
Yep.
So yeah, we've got a good strong couple of games coming up. I think we play Norse in 2 weeks' time, and
at Lawn or
at Lawn,
okay.
yeah. So we got 2 days against them. So they did us the first round in 1 day. So it'll be good to come up against them again. So
is it all 2-day cricket for the rest of the season in Maitland, or have you got a bit of a mixture?
No, I think we have 2 1-days left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brother still having a run around?
Yeah, Matt's captain at City, so
good. Okay.
Good to be back playing up there with him.
And in your case, you two hoping to bat again in a grand final and make a couple of 100 more. Remarkable performance. A double century to Josh and a century to Matt in a sensational performance in a grand final. That City game was against, who was that against?
Western, Curry.
Curry. At home or on neutral?
It was at Lawn.
On a belter, I'd imagine.
And it was that day. It was unbelievable.
I was talking earlier on, and you'll probably get embarrassed with me saying this. With 1 more to go, they've reached 100, so we'll finish off the innings shortly. Gibson gets a Yorker from Bailey. Now, can he get back for 2? Is he going to try? He is going to try. It should be a run out of Francis here. And that's 1 run only. So Gibson gets 1 off the last ball, ends up 8 for 101 off 20 overs. 102 will be the chase. I was talking about that amazing day in that great game of cricket, Hunter Hitman and Newcastle Blasters at Robins, where I think you made 70 or 80 after taking 4 for, and Pricey took one of the best catches I have ever seen to pretty much save that match for us. It was a great game of cricket, actually.
If there was one person who would take it, it would have been Pricey, and he did it.
There was no one else at the ground that could have taken that catch.
So it was good. Yeah, it was good fun. I think that was our first year in the comp.
And it was none for 27 after the first over. Louis Sargent bowled it over. I think he bowled 2 or 3 lots of 5 wides, and Price just went nuts. And
so
then you brained us back.
Unfortunately, we lost in that sense, but all good.
Josh, it's been great to talk to you. It's been wonderful to see the 2 Maitland sides in the competition. Good luck this afternoon and in the other fixture this afternoon against the Seagulls. And good luck for the rest of the season. It sounds like City are looking headlong into another finals campaign. And
we can only hope.
Hey?
We can only hope.
You can only hope. Mate, thank you so much for your time. Look, Fisher's actually done a good job there finishing off.
He's finished
equal
really
top
well.
Score with Francis. Stayed there and got you where at one stage you're 8 for 80. You're looking at finishing with leaving rocks rocks out there. You haven't.
We've got a total to bowl to now, so it'll be good.
All the best this afternoon. Thanks
Redders.
so much for your time.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Thanks to Josh Trappel there. Aaron and I will have a short break just to rest the dulcet tones. We'll come back with you shortly with 102 being the target this afternoon. Thanks, Josh. Welcome back to Lynn Oval in Stockton, and David Reed and Aaron Gray with you here. Harry King's got the new rock, Greg Hunt and Luke Muddle opening again for Belmont.
So Redders, what did you get up to in the innings break, mate? Anything exciting?
Nothing in particular, just had a strepsils for the voice and chatted to a couple of people and chatted to Kieran Knight about his favourite subject himself, and he'll admit that.
Excellent. So the equation here, obviously, it's pretty straightforward. It's 5 runs and over, +1. And obviously, if the Flood managed to restrict them and get to a win, they will then be playing in the 3rd game for a chance to nab 3rd spot in this pool. If the Whips happen to win this game here, then obviously they'll be the front runners on quotient to grab 3rd spot in this pool and a chance at the semi-final. So, as you heard Josh Trappel say at the end of their innings, they've got a total at least to bowl at. So it'd be really critical what happens in this power play, I feel.
What kind of phone, big fella?
iPhone.
I think we might be cooking with gas. You just pass me the phone there, great man, and I'll put that in for you, and it should be okay to go. Asking for an LBW there and not given. I'll just go off air for a minute, if that's okay, Aaron. I'll just go and chase up some power. That should be operating now. I'll just go off air for a minute.
So Harry King there, just coming in. Pushed out the offside, no run. So 3 balls, no run so far. Pushing them through quite well. Looking to bowl nice and full and straight at the moment. Okay, so we've just had confirmation from the scorers that we don't have Harry King bowling. We've actually got Callum Gabriel.
It's Gabriel.
And that's now just flashed up on your screens and changed. So 5 balls in, no runs scored. Callum Gabriel's bowled very tight here. They've got a very, very tight field. You'd have to pierce the field with some clean timing to get off the mark here. As you see there, just punched through the offside for 2. It's 2 off the over. So good start by the Flood.
It's none for 2. Just getting some power, getting some options here to get some charges done.
It's going to be a long day here. We can't run out of charge, that's for sure.
No, we can't. And I've had charge on this one as well. So we'll just keep working away. None for 2 after 1. I'll leave you with Aaron just for a minute while I get a few things sorted out off screen if I can.
So throughout this innings, might have a few changes on the microphone. Give Dave a little break before the last game of the day, where the Seagulls are back on deck for their match versus the Flood. Obviously the Flood playing their 2 games today, obviously played their first 2 games on a Sunday fixture a couple of weeks ago. They're chasing their first win. As we said earlier, all teams still alive. If the Flood get a win, they obviously have a chance to beat the Seagulls in the last game to push for 3rd spot. And by looking at the ladders and results at other grounds, it seems third spot from this pool will almost certainly progress to the quarterfinals. It's 4 runs to Luke Muddle. Just got that high in the air over the offside. Got Mr. Redden coming back here with a charger for his phone and mine as well. So in terms of their outfield, they got the 2 out at this stage is long off on the offside and a deep backwards square. Other than that, all their infielders are on the circle. Luke Muddle obviously in game 1 played very aggressive, and it looks like he's going to do something similar here. Geez, he's hit that. That is a big one. That's into the bowling club.
Another big 6 from Muddle there. That's huge.
Wow.
Looks like we've got some power here. And let's take that for a little while. I'm okay. That's got 65%, so you should be okay with that one for a while.
Yep, all good.
I'll take that one back from you and try and source you another one shortly, but that should be working your phone very soon, sir. Massive 6 from Muddle. Again, starting off with it in a hurry. It's 13 off 9 balls. And for those of you in the back who can hear in the distance, that is not beer, that's a Coke Zero. I'm not going to be so silly as to commentate after having a beer. Aaron Gray and David Redden here with you at Linovel and Stockton, where the breeze is flying in at the moment. Maitland defending 102.
So they've had to pull that out from underneath the bowling club over there, Dave. That was one of the cleaner hits today.
Was indeed.
And Muddle in the first game hit one probably just as clean, but hit it on screen for that green tree.
Where the people are sitting there in the shade having a quiet ale, I reckon.
It sailed over that tree, I reckon. It was a clean hit. So it was short-lived, but it was some clean striking. Let's see if we can go a little bit deeper into this innings. Get himself a little score.
That's the idea, and certainly Belmont will be after for quotient reasons here, ladies and gentlemen. And Aaron, what we will do during this innings is get up some ladders if we can, and just have a bit of a chat about that at some stage. You charging successfully there, sir, now?
I am.
Very good. Muddle's gone large again, didn't get it, just bunts it down to long on, and just gets the single. Tries to go large, I'll just make sure that's...
Anyone who's seen Dave Redden in action will know what I'm going through here at the moment. There are charging cords galore, and we're just trying to troubleshoot through a couple that work well for us and what we're trying to do, and it looks like we are all on charge.
Got a multi-skill, haven't you, big fella? I've got my main man over here. Got to make sure I'm trying to do the right thing.
I
So.
appreciate that. I've got some charge in my phone, and this iPad we're working from also now has some power charging into it. So we're back on deck.
We are.
Now looking at some ladders.
Oh, you've got them up. Great. If you can put that on there, because
yeah,
I need that screen to commentate off. That's wonderful.
I think just to recap, so pardon me, in Pool A.
So all the points in Pool A just get added to with 1s and 2s.
That's right.
That's all that happens.
The key there was, I think the Black Roses only had 1 washout today, as did the Rebels, whereas I think the Magpies
I think the Sea Dragons only played once too, didn't they?
Yeah. So
Muddle gets a top edge of that one, and it goes for 4. So Luke Muddle, who's quite clearly got the task here with going very hard very early, and it's working so far. They're 18 in the 3rd over, showing real intent here, which is the most important thing. intent means so much in these games, doesn't it, Aaron?
Certainly does. I think if you get out of the blocks, it takes a lot of pressure off your middle overs. And when the field spreads, there's less dependence on boundaries. So obviously that power play is pretty critical. And likewise, I think the Flood will be looking to capitalise with many wickets in this little period here. But just pan to the left, we've probably seen a
Actually, that
fair
camera,
bit of cloud. And
that camera's actually just moved a bit.
yeah, so that'd be
Just dropped a touch.
your bags on that, mate, I think. So
Aaron will just go and have a look at the camera here and just get that angle back for you. You can see the players at the top of the screen, but we need them to be in the middle if possible. Maitland gets a single down the ground. That's what it was. I do apologise, mate. I'm sorry about that. It was my charger bag that's got in the way. It's got about 967 charges. Single to muddle down the ground. Aaron will just adjust the camera position for us. 18, 19 now. Muddle is 16. Hunt just sedately on 2. Works it off his hips. He's a very tidy player. Premiership player with St George and Sydney. Serious pedigree. And I do mean serious. Now playing cricket for Lane Cove in Sydney on Saturdays. Guest player here today for the Whips. Hope you're enjoying the commentary and live streaming here from Lynn Oval. It's been our pleasure to be with you for the best part of the last 5 hours. Single to Muddle, who's looking very, very confident at the moment. Pushes that down to mid-off, and that will be over. 21 off 3. Whips going along very nicely, thank you very much, and comfortably, to be quite honest with you. They're looking very comfortable at the moment. And as long as Muddle's out there, he will continue to go hard. And Aaron's fixed up that slight error from D Red. Apologise for that. So Aaron will come back when he comes back online. We'll go back and have a look at those ladders while we're watching the game. Muddle is 17, Hunt is 3. It's 21 off 3 overs. Target's 102 to win. And really, Belmont need to get these as quickly as they possibly can.
So I think we're working off quotients firstly. So it'll be about presuming wickets. Is that how that works? It's runs divided by wickets?
Runs and wickets, yeah. And then it's also, yeah. That might be large too, or is he out?
No,
It's got onto it again.
All the way.
Gets that towards the bowling green. We're watching on a slight delay here. Gets down on one knee and smokes it. 23 now for Muddle off 12. The perfect start. And to be quite frank, he's actually done his job. He's got them well on the way. That was big. The wind got a hold of it, but he hit that a crosswind, not down it, and goes into the bowling green at the top end of the ground. Go, Aaron.
So, in Pool A, to recap, and for those listening at home, just flick to your My Cricket app if you wish. But Pool A sees the rankings as Sea Dragons will finish on 6 points with a quotient of 25. The Pumas will finish on 6 points with a quotient of 8.5. And the Black Roses will finish on 5 points with a quotient of 9. Now, the reason why that's critical is because the best third place team goes through to the quarterfinals. So there's 3 pools for 15 teams. The top 2 from each pool go through the quarterfinals, and then the best third place teams in each pool, from across all 3 pools, the best 2 of those teams in third place will progress to the quarterfinals too. It's deliberately done like that to ensure things like this, where weather comes into play, that it's only your pool that is impacted by any weather of a day being washed out.
Out stumped. That's a brilliant stumping. Muddles must have just raised his back foot, going for another mow, and there's this brilliant stumping pulled off there. Muddle gone for 23 off 13, but as I said, he's really done his job. Out goes Ray Cooper, but they're well on their way. They're 1 for 27 off 19 balls. Aaron, please go ahead while I still potter around here with charging.
In Pool B, which is the pool that we're looking at today,
Yep.
that we're streaming live from.
Yep.
You've got the Whips so far on 3 points.
Yep.
You have the Seagulls now on 3 points, and the Maitland Flood on 0 points. First and second are Tigers and Sabres. They're through.
Yep,
They can't be
yep.
caught on 9 points. But whoever comes third here is a very strong chance, go through because they'll be on 6 points. So 1 point more than the Black Roses.
So in this pool that these teams are in, who is on top of the? Can you read the entire pool out? Am I right to think that Waratah are on 7?
So Pool B
No, Pool B. Yep.
is this pool, and the Tigers and the Sabres are on top on 9 points, first and second.
Yes.
And then in third place currently is the Whips on quotient. And if they take this win here, well then obviously they're going to be in a very strong position. Now, the Seagulls playing, if the Flood win here, they'll be on 3 points. And that means you'll have a three-way on 3. So what then would happen is the winner of the last game would go through.
Yeah. got
Okay.
it.
But if Belmont win here, the Whips, then they would be favourites to go through on quotient. That said, until it's all said and done, we don't really know. But all I can say is that the Whips currently on 3 points, looking strong here for a win. If they get that, they'll go to 6, which means the Seagulls would have to win their game against the Flood
And win well.
extremely convincingly to try and knock the Whips out of third spot.
Okay.
Now, that will mean more points than Pool A, because the Black Roses will only finish on 5 points.
So they start to, so the
So
Black
they-
Roses
so-
get eliminated.
So Pool A is pretty much out. They can only have their first and second go through. Now, Pool C is interesting because we've had 2 games washed out over at Townsend Oval, and the third game is likely to go ahead, and that's between the Lions and the Magic. So how that will look is the Rosellas only having played 1 game. They've had 3 washouts. Okay, because they've had 2 games washed out today, means they will finish
That appears to be delayed.
on 5 points.
That's okay.
So the Rosellas will finish on 6 points, but with a very superior quotient.
Yes, got it.
So, and it doesn't matter anyway. 6 points will be enough to get them through. The Black Roses only get 5.
Yeah, got
So
it.
they're a safe bet, I think, given that the Kookaburras have no more games to play on 3 points, and the Magic have no wins. So really, the only thing that could change in Pool C over at Townsend Oval is the Lions win and go to first, and then that would mean that the Waratahs go to second.
And Warwick, yeah, okay, very good.
Okay. Confusing, much easier if you're looking at your app, but yeah, certainly that's where it sits.
Hunt gets up on the back foot and hits that down for a comfortable single just outside the ring at mid-on. Fisher bowling from the southern end. Ray Cooper on strike. Greg Hunt is forwards. 1 for 28. Cooper looks to get a single, but Hunt wisely sends him back. Gibson quickly in off the ring at short third man. Thank you for Aaron for explaining those mathematical calculations. And the draws today, the Hiver being washed out has been actually very costly for a couple of sides, and the Sea Dragons get benefit out of being in front before this morning.
Yeah, that's true.
That's lovely from Cooper. 1.
Yeah, the 2 most disadvantaged teams is Charlestown, who are hosting
And 4 runs.
and the Black Roses,
Yeah.
who unfortunately only finish on 5 points, which is going to fall short of being the best third place team. West is the one that you got to feel for a little bit, having annihilated Toronto in their only game.
That was when James King went absolutely
They
ballistic.
got a
with it.
39-ball century, and then they bowled Toronto out for 60-odd, defending 220. So their quotient is crazy. It's like 21 or something. So yeah, for them to not sneak through would be an injustice, I'd think. But thankfully, I think they will.
And if they go into the finals, they'll be playing with a bit of anger. And I don't think anybody needs to see West angry at the moment.
Well, they're very good form, aren't they?
Oh, Very well
Are they your
balanced.
favourites to take it? The It's probably hard to say as a Stockton man, but
No, it's not hard to say as someone that has an overview of Newcastle cricket as well.
Yep.
They are clear in every competition for mine. They are clear favourites. I think that they'll get a semi-final at Harker. I think they'll be very, very hard to beat. And I think that, and again, I'm not going to predict where the grand final will be. That's not up to me to even discuss. But I think they'll be very, very hard. Once they get in, they'll finish first, and they'll be very hard to beat. Clear favourites in the competition, and there's no one at the moment who is a clear second favourite. Hunt's got that, and that's got top spin. That'll go for 4.
just trickles in.
Gets enough of it. 37 off 5 overs now. Good start for Belmont. At the moment, there's a stack of sides who are sitting underneath West. You've got Belmont, Hamwicks, Stockton, Wallsend, Merewether, and City. Merewether and City have just got a first innings win when nobody else did, because everybody else was called off. They got first innings winners last week. And Newcastle City's in particular was meritorious because they went berserk in the last 10 overs to get themselves home. Angus McTaggart and Wayne Dunlop got themselves a lot of runs very quickly and got themselves a first innings win just. They've gained 3 points in the competition yesterday, okay, which is really, really important, Aaron. I tried to square off the ladder earlier. I could see that Hamwicks and Stockton hadn't been squared off, but I tried to do that earlier on the My Cricket. So everyone should have 10 that should be caught. And he's by Fisher. Cooper caught a backward point, skying 1. Hunt comes on a strike. 2 for 37's the score. Go Abel bowling well. That's his second wicket. Dan Bailey comes to the crease.
Yeah, there's a very big cluster of teams, isn't there, between...
So they all play 10 now?
No. It's
I did that score earlier, but for some reason it hasn't updated. But you have to add Stockton go in at 39, I think, for 3 for a draw. So Wallsend, Stockton and Hamwicks go above
two for a
Wallsend.
draw, yeah.
2 is it? Okay. Well, they both go in front.
38, yeah, okay. So they go to third.
No, Hamwicks do.
Okay, sorry, Hemwicks, yep. Okay.
39, Stockton 38, Wallsend 37, Merewether's game's done. They got a first innings win 36, and City are on 35. So there's all those teams. And I've actually got an email from Dan Proudman, and I will speak to you. I've actually got, because we're going to talk about this on our live broadcast. I've got a list of the who plays who. Dan said that he wanted to talk about the podcast this week. So when we get a minute, we've
got an exclusive.
Not exclusive, but we'll get a bit of a rundown of where the sides, who they play.
A Redders Sportscast exclusive.
So here we go. There are 7 sides at the moment who are still in with a realistic chance. Charlestown would have to win one of their last games outright to really rocket in, probably 2. So here we go on the top 7. I'll let you know who they play and where. Trouble if he hits it. Direct hit, that might be 5. They've got a cross to get this. No, it's not going to be 5. It's going to be 2. 2 runs, Hunt. Aaron, so here's the draw. Newcastle City in 7th play Toronto at all 3 games are away because of Limoth being out. They've got Toronto, Waratah and Wests. Not a bad draw for City. Merewether's got the toughest draw of everybody. They've got Wallsend away, Wests at home, Belmont at home. So they get 3 sides in the top 5. Wallsend get Merewether at home. Wallsend finish at home. Merewether, Hamwicks, Charlestown. Stockton get Waratah and Toronto at home and Uni away to finish. Hamwicks have got Wests away, Wallsend away, Toronto at home. Belmont's got Charlestown away, Uni at home and Merewether away. And Wests, who are flying along at the top of the ladder, have 3 sides that could make up the 4 in Hamwicks at home, Merewether away and City at home. So you can see there that a couple of sides, Merewether's got a tough draw. Wallsend, West, Belmont, that's tough. Hamwick's got a tough draw, West then Wallsend. And I've got to go. Direct hitting or he's in trouble. And he dropped his bat too, just quietly. Stockton's got Waratah, Toronto and Uni. Hamilton's got West and Wallsend. Interesting, both of those games are away. And Belmont's got Charlestown, Uni and Merewether. So I can see Wallsend getting into the top 4. Merewether actually has to, I think Merewether's got to win one of their games against Wallsend and West, and that's a big ask. And beat Belmont. They've got to win 2 or 3 at least. City actually has a real City, it's fascinating. City and Stockton play the same 2 teams, one after the other. So City play Toronto, then Waratah, and then Stockton play Waratah then City. So
So it's interesting that with everyone playing each other at the top there, it means that there could be a smoky come from mid-table as well if they happen to get on a run. Because whilst ever there's teams in the top 6 playing each other, there has to be a winner and a loser. So, you know, just looking further down, but maybe your cities or your Charlestowns really can make a...
Charlestown has to. I reckon Charlestown has got to win outright one of those games. They've got to win all 3. They've got to beat Belmont, Cardiff, and Wallsend, and they've got to win one of them outright. They're 5 points behind City, and they've got Belmont and Wallsend, and one of them's at Cahaiba. It's 2 for 41. Representative left arm spinner Sean Gibson on with the power play finished. Bloke can bowl. He's got good loop and changes his pace nice and subtly.
Apologies to our viewers at home who may not have the ladders in front of them, but just your opinion then, Dave. Do we rule out Toronto and Waratah at making a late run? If those top teams there, I'm just like Charlestown's on 29 points, which for me is probably that's where no one really below 8th spot can make it.
I think that's the end. For me,
yep. So Waratah, who
Toronto's actually got a draw that they could pull off some wins. Waratah's actually got they've both got reasonable draws. They've both got Newcastle City. They've both got Stockton, and then Toronto's got Hamwicks to finish, and Waratah's got Cardiff. They'd have to do something remarkable. I think it's from Charlestown up.
Yep.
I'm not being nasty. We're trying to be analytical here and look at this objectively.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
One run down there, lovely little late cut from Bailey.
Mathematically, you know, if you can make it, you can make it. But yeah, then you look at you've got you and Dan have obviously put together a great list there of the opposing teams, and you could probably put some W's and L's next to those on what you think. The other thing, Dave, weather could play its part. We do get a wet part of the season usually come through around about now. So if you're not in the top 4, it's very hard to play catch up.
Weather's played a big part yesterday. Big part. Wallsend had a difficult chase on what was going to be a soft deck at Pastor Field. Hamilton had a really interesting chase on 256 off 90 with a slowish outfield against Stocko. West would have won. And
Belmont would have lost, I would have thought too.
And if we get a chance to talk to Chatty, it'd be very interesting to see if they actually had an opportunity to go for first innings points last week, Toronto, whether it wasn't realistic. I suspect that it wasn't. They finished about 20 or 30 short, I think. Belmont would have lost, surely, especially if Adrian Chad had stayed there. And Brendan Charlton, who's a reliable cricketer, they would have got them home. Greg Hunt goes down on one leg, trying to slog sweep Abel, who's still got 2 for 9 off 2. 2 for 43 here. So yeah, look, that's where it's at. Weather, yes. And I think the one thing that's certain in there is that West will finish first. I don't think anyone's going to get near them.
Yeah, and I think deserved favourites, you know, by length of the straight too, I'd say. But finals cricket produces funny things, doesn't it? You know,
it does. You would know that. You would know that quite well yourself.
Saturday, Sunday.
Well, interesting. The team that's going to shape the 4 is Wests, because they've got Hamwicks, Merewether and City. So they've got 2 sides outside the 4, one side just inside the 4, and they're going to shape it because at the moment they're just playing irrepressible cricket.
My only, play a bit of devil's advocate, I suppose. The only risk to them is someone or a bunch of them not maintaining that same form they've been in for nearly all season. You would hope that they can sustain it, but it's a very big ask to carry form all season.
James King's a great ball. The one who needs to strike soon is Wiv. Aaron Wivell hasn't got many runs. He hasn't struck form.
They do have others there that probably can find some form too. So
inside edge there from Hunt.
But no, definitely I think
because if
short odds favourites in my opinion.
Oh yeah, if Wiv catches fire, look out. And he's just about due for a decent score. The price is always going to be there. James King's in, I think, just about the best form of his West career since he's come down from Port. He's in superb touch. But with West, they're not just dependent on their batting. They've got Brad Aldous, the Newcastle opening bowler, Tom Allen, who's played for New South Wales country, Jeremy Noonan, who's just about the sharpest young bloke at Newcastle, Aaron Bills, and Joey Price. And Wiv to bowl his little right-arm noon balls as well. So. Yeah, Abel's bowling nicely. He's taking the pace off the ball all the time. He's actually hard to hit. Very good spell so far. 2 for 12 off 3.
So definitely Belmont definitely well on top here, and there's no doubt about that. The whips. A couple of wickets shakes things up here.
Now, in a clump, 2 or 3 straight away. They need these two particular Hunt. Hunt can sit there and sit back. They can't actually afford to do that. They really do need to score quickly. Going the slog sweep to the spinner, that's a tough decision to get an LBW on, especially if he's got his pad outside off stump. Hunt's eyeing off this small short boundary. Sorry, big fella.
I just say it almost looked to hit him more in the hip than the...
Still looks a quality player. Single down the line. Where's the great man Adrian Chadd at the moment? Is he close by?
I think he's having a chat to some of the Seagulls guys. Yeah, you want me to bring him over?
Yeah, get him and have a chat. I'll have leave everybody. You can my gibberish. You can have a chat to him if you like. Or you want me to?
You're
no, I'll chat to him. That's fine.
Yep.
Happy to talk to him. You go over him if you want to have a rest. Bailey on the back foot, punt heading down the line. 2 for 48. Game's going through a bit of a quiet spell at the moment with Muddle. Hello Luke, how are you? Muddle having gone berserk early on as is his job. Hunt gets that out to backward point with a bit of slicing spin and just a single. Going to be joined in a second by Adrian Chadd, captain of Lake Mac and Toronto and New South Wales country player again for the second time. I know he's very thrilled to be there, so we'll get his lapel mic on and turn you on in a second, Chaddy. Let me know when you're ready. Welcome, Adrian Chadd, to the microphone. Great to have you here, mate. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, thanks, Redders. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Great to talk to you. First of all, congratulations on being picked for New South Wales country again. It's great to see you there and doing so well, mate. Particularly batting in that sort of middle order seemed to carve yourself a bit of a niche.
Yeah, it was good. Good to be back. It's always a great honour to be playing at that level and great experience to go away for those sort of carnivals. Shame that COVID put a bit of a stop to the normal national champs, but still good experience down in ACT. Yeah, and it was good to obviously bat middle order and sort of have a pretty specified role and be able to contribute to a few wins.
Indeed. It's great to watch it on the camera as well. You have a look at it.
I may have watched it once or twice, which was good. But yeah, it was the whole frog box idea I think is great actually, sort of getting stuck into it. Even the games here on Newcastle, being able to watch the summer bash and the idea of the commentary stuff as well, I think adds a bit of extra component to it, which is great.
I remember talking to you, if you don't mind me going back a couple of years, when you first played for New South Wales country. Oh, bleeding edge from Bailey there. This fella, Abel, has bowled very nicely. He's taken the pace up a lot of Steve Abel. I remember you talking to you after that saying, and I'd love just, as the comparison of 2 years ago, how much running you've done in between Shepparton and when you played in Canberra. I remember speaking to you about it, because you're not an unfit man at all, but I remember talking to you specifically up to Shepparton saying, Redders, I need to get more kilometres in my legs. What have you done in the last 24 months in that particular area alone, Adrian?
Yeah, I think it was just a bit of an eye-opener in regards to the fact that your body doesn't really get a rest, especially being a all-rounder, middle-order player. The fast bowlers might get a days on, days off, but for the batsmen and for the all-rounders, you tend to be playing day in, day out, and you're probably surprised by how much running you do each day. So it's just sort of, I've just made a conscious effort to probably run 3 or 4 times a week if I could, to just build up a bit of endurance and stamina in the actual legs to handle a little bit more.
I think that some of our blokes, even in what was basically a half tournament, found the same thing, that it was a real eye-opener, particularly with the debutants, finding out how difficult it is physically to get up every day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely not. That's a lovely shot.
Smoke that, Bailey.
He's cleared the front leg there and hit over mid-wicket.
Adrian Chadd sitting here grinning every time Dan Bailey gets a run or gets a wicket, because he'll need him in about 8 days' time, which we'll speak about in a minute, Chaddy.
But yeah, no, it definitely is an eye-opener when you first go away. We don't really do anything like that in club cricket in regards to playing that much cricket day in, day out. Even the country, just the state sort of country champs, which is 3 days, it's still, after that 3 days you feel a bit exhausted, but you've got to tack another 7 or 8 days on that if you go away to sort of national champs. So it just, completely different level.
And interestingly, the 2 tournaments you've been away, it was hot both times. It was awfully hot in Shepparton for a few days. In fact, we actually did get a enforced rest day in Shep because it was 47 degrees, and I kid you not, it was 47. And then it got hot in Canberra, didn't it?
It was.
Again, it was hot, especially for a couple of days. It was very hot. The 2 T20 day at Chisholm was it was 37, 38. It wasn't pleasant.
Yep, no, it has been both days, and that's sort of another thing that leads into the needing to get your body conditioned for it, because where it's scheduled and the time it's scheduled, it tends to be quite warm. You sort of don't really hear of too many carnivals being greatly influenced by the weather. Well, that could be 4 as well. But no, well fielded.
Was. Bailey, a lovely little shot through mid-wicket for 2. Score check for you here is 59 for 2, Belmont, going along quite comfortably.
That was starting to time him quite nicely now, which is good.
He actually batted nicely this morning. He didn't try and throw. When he had to go, he threw his wicket away, but by that stage it was a big ask, but he did bat a lot of balls.
It's interesting field that they've got as well.
Talk us through it.
Just the, sort of without being able to see what line they're bowling, that guy at deep extra cover. I haven't seen a ball go out to him yet, but the short boundary here, they've only got 2 guys out, so it sort of leads to, maybe opening up a bit more for the batsman to step across and play that.
Do that. That's gone a long way. That car's are in trouble there. There it is. It hit the pine, come down.
Wouldn't matter where the field was with that shot. But
no, you actually faced this young bloke's the Central Northern left arm spinner Gibson, who we faced at Tuggerah this year, and also at Sawyer Park in Arimba last year. So Sean plays for proudly a Central Northern representative.
Yep.
We were speaking to Josh Trappel earlier, who was thinking about where we wanted him to bowl, which areas. It's interesting you picked that up. That deep extra covers hasn't been hit very often.
Oh, that's well bowled.
Well, he's giving him out stumped.
Good bit of glove work.
Yeah, that's the second bit of glove work he's produced. The stumping off Muddle was brilliant. Yeah, he did raise his back foot too, where he's got a bit of delay here. So that's an important wicket. And Shane Burley can maybe talking to Alex Cook to get them home. They've got 36 to get, and they've got lots of overs left.
Well, that's sort of, I suppose, a bit of risk reward there. Really, it's they opened that side of the field up to force that shot. Went for 6 the ball before, and he's tried to do it again and got out. But I suppose that's the open it up. Might go for 6, might get the wicket. So it worked out well for the Maitland team in the end.
It did. Chatty, 8 days time for all of us is a huge day. Anytime you get to play at the home of cricket in New South Wales is a treat. I know you've done it and led us out a victory there. It is a massive day for all of us, especially in Newcastle cricket. Talk us through your feelings, and as a matter of interest, as part of that, where do you think Dan would bat in an attack side in a normal situation?
He's unfortunately tends to be down the bottom with our lineup.
You've got a lot of depth.
We do.
Max side's got a lot of depth.
A lot of depth. I mean, so do the Blasters. To be honest with you, you sort of look at both lineups, and we're pretty blessed with having. Actually, just a lot of really good all-rounders, Bale's very capable with the bat, but unfortunately tends to find himself down the order. If the game scenario lent itself to where we needed, maybe a few more boundaries hit or looking to really attack, he might find himself elevated. But it just sort of lends itself to how strong Lake Macquarie is, but also the Blasters, that we've got that luxury to keep a batsman of Bale's quality down the bottom, really.
Yeah.
It's always a great opportunity to play at the SCG. Definitely doesn't get taken for granted or lightly. I think that's why a lot of guys. That's 6.
That's 6.
I don't think a lot of guys. I think that's why a lot of guys like playing the Plan B. That's the carrot at the end, is to get that opportunity, and then also hopefully get the opportunity to win. And play under lights there as well, which we were lucky enough to do last season. So I know a lot of the guys are pretty keen to repeat the feat.
Interestingly, should the attack get through the first game, I would think that Arana would be outsiders against ACT. If you do come up against ACT, you've actually had some first-aid experience at looking at them over 6 games in 4 days, Chatty. You actually would have built up some corporate knowledge of them and had some plans and ideas as to what's going to happen. You know what Mern and Van Leeuwen and Bros, the Solways, are going to do. You've got some ideas. And I don't think Sam Skelly's plays for them, does he?
No, I don't think he does. And then, we definitely, even the T20 that we played against ACT at Monaco, last season before the Plan B gave us a few ideas on how to bowl to a few of their sort of top order batsmen.
Yep.
Which worked out for us well because Dan Bailey had a great game with the ball and really got us into it. I think he took 4 for 5 or 6 or something like that in his first spell. So definitely playing, and Bale's obviously coming away with us with the country stuff this year. Probably helped him develop a few plans. Also, and same with Daniel Arms. So we've got a few guys there that have got a bit of experience potentially against ACT if it comes to that. Obviously, we've got to beat the Blasters first. Definitely would be. And they might have also done the same thing for us. But yeah, it definitely helps having a few more regular games against them and sort of seeing how they play in that T20 scenario and sort of maybe identifying a few of their strengths and weaknesses that you can look to plan around.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, that's a really good insight, actually. Both those the new Newcastle franchises have got lots and lots of talent. Please don't. I know things will be desperate if you give Dixon the ball, though. Please don't. I know we've got to be listening to the great man, but please don't give Jed the ball.
We might need to be ahead by 40 with 1 over to go for that to happen.
50.
I'd be telling him to bowl from behind the umpire, so it couldn't hit the ball.
Back cut from Bailey for just a dot ball. 3 for 72 into the 12th over now. Belmont going along comfortably. Only need 30 left. Don't need to lose another wicket though yet. Francis on the left arm ortho. Trapple was saying that Francis is very reliable with his length and direction, and he can bowl to a real field. Go on.
Yeah, it's quite interesting here, just sort of watching that. Tends to be a few sort of cluster of dots and then a boundary or big shot, which is working for Belmont at the moment. It's good too. Good running.
Yeah, good running. Good cricket.
Which is working for them at the moment, but they might just sort of, obviously they're in the box seat, and we'd probably like it to be a bit more, rotating the strike every ball. But obviously credit to the Maitland Flood, seem to be bowling quite well. Taking pace off the ball seems to be a little bit more difficult to score.
Not that time. He had his back foot down that time. He was going for his 3rd stumping in innings, actually.
It's even sort of, that sort of shot there. You probably might be better off looking for your single and then targeting the short boundary next over. Because the only thing that's really going to help the Flood here is wickets. So you want to play as many shots that are in your percentage or in your favour as possible. But I suppose no one's complaining if he hits it out of the screws and it goes to 6.
Risk and reward, as you were saying in the last over. Francis to Bailey.
So just sort of those dots there that probably not building too much pressure, but you only need 2 or 3 overs where you build 3 or 4 dots, and it actually the run rate sneaks up quite quickly in T20 cricket.
That might be out. No, just short. Didn't hit it hard enough. Single down to long on. Channeling is in a Rohit Sharma there, hitting a two-third shot to the long on fence. That's over. It's 75 for 3 after 12. 27 required off 8 overs. Something's got to happen, and I was talking to Aaron just before you came on. They need clumps. They need 2 or 3 wickets very quickly to put the pressure back on.
Yeah.
Whatever Bailey's there, Cook's got a pretty good hit on his shoulders as well.
Well, I think that they've still got a couple of good batsmen to come.
Joey Gillard hasn't batted yet.
He's actually a very mature cricketer for someone so young. He has actually played quite a lot of innings for Belmont where he is a bit of a rock through the middle for him. He's not necessarily going to take a game away from you, but he never throws his wicket away. And he's always very hard to get out, looks for his ones, quick between the wickets. So even if, I'm not sure if he's scheduled to come in next, they might have someone else, but he wouldn't even be a bad shout to come in next to someone who's just going to be in there rotating the strike looking for his ones.
Joey hasn't got the pads on. Bailey Newell's gone on next. Joey Gillard, of course, part of the Lake Mac side. That's gone.
Oh, and down in the crowd.
Drop by Michael Guest, an absolute sitter on the fence. What's going on there? Guesty, what's going on? 6 runs to Alex Cook. Now
they're dropping that bloke back now, which might change his thought process. But
now all he has to do is bunt it anywhere on the leg side, even with an edge, and he's got himself a single, Adrian. Let's have a look and see how he goes about it. Oh, he's a lovely, authentic straight drive straight down to long on.
But it's quite interesting in that field. sort of probably be hoping to push that guy. They've got two very close together, sort of a square deep mid wicket and then a cow corner. You'd almost be thinking you get that guy a little bit closer to square potentially.
Agreed. And Bailey just takes advantage of that, and as Adrian Chad said, just picks off that simple single. 3 for 83, 3 for 84 now. Knee high full toss there to Bailey.
I mean, Cook's coming in hitting him pretty well at a strike rate of 300, is it? Oh, going again. Not out.
Not out. Umpire a long way back. He's almost on the ring there. He was actually on the ring, I reckon. Strike rate almost James Kingish when we were down in Canberra. Red as a chatty. Have you seen the scores at Toronto and West? And had a day out, the great man.
He did. It seems like he's in a bit of form at the moment, which might be a little bit troublesome for us to the Lake Macquarie side if he keeps hitting hundreds the way he is. But also, potentially good coming up for the state finals against Riverina.
Indeed.
Later in the month as well.
Smart single there. Talking exactly what Adrian Chad was saying. That's all they need to do. They get the field back. Smart cricket, not throwing a windy wharf, just whacking it, bunning it down to square and getting the single. So
it's good from Cook though. I mean, he targeted the short boundary, targeted with the wind, got it over the fence, and made them make that field change, which then opened up the easy singles. So it's pretty pretty sensible cricket, especially in the T20 format from Cook to aim to do that.
Oh, I would like to give one like I mentioned. Jamie Larson copped some real stick from James King and came back in the next game for Toronto in the T20 and took a couple of wickets and not afraid. And it's good to see the young bloke coming back and having a real crack.
Yeah.
He could have dropped his head, but he didn't.
Absolutely. He's a young leg spinner. He's taken on the task of bowling leg spin, which is probably the hardest thing to do in cricket, and obviously do successfully. And when you're bowling to a class batsman like Kingy, you've got to be on the money, and even sometimes when you are on the money, the ball can still go over the fence. So, no, it was really good to see him come back in the T20s against the other Maitland side, the Rebels, I believe. He bowled really well, and kept tossing it up. And
the Rebels are the suburban and district side. The other Maitland side's the Magic. The Magic.
And he bowled really well. Just kept tossing up there, and obviously having Jay Letton there as well to offer a bit more. Other experience and advice is, only going to be beneficial for a young spinner coming up. But he's really impressed this year with the opportunity he's had. Also quite a capable bat, but been a little bit unfortunate. Sort of few decisions and just a few sort of game scenarios which probably haven't lent themselves necessarily for him. But at Toronto we definitely see him as a bit of a future player for the club, where hopefully over the next sort of 2 or 3 seasons he just continues to improve and gains more confidence. And
they might be wides here, just waiting on the umpire. I thought that was down leg side, just waiting on the umpire. It's a leg bye. He's got a bit of pad on that, so just a single leg bye.
But we definitely see him as a future player, where hopefully just sort of goes from strength to strength, and one of those players that you see could be a bit of a club mainstay for years to come. It's always good.
Follow in Westie's footsteps and become a good batter, and Westie's become a very, very fine cricketer over a period
absolutely
of time.
Has.
He really has.
Yeah, he's taken on a bit more of that senior and mature role at the club, which is great to see. Obviously getting a bit of exposure to the rep system as well, I think sort of helps that a little bit. It hopefully gives him a bit more confidence. But his batting and bowling have really improved over the last couple of seasons, from when he really sort of secured his first grade spot about sort of 4 years ago, I think now.
Didn't get that, got that on the stickers, but bunts it down to long on, 3 for 88. The other guy from Toronto Workers who's going to be a major X factor, without wishing to use a pun, in the Plan B finals is Brendan Charlton, who is actually a match winner on his day. He can do anything.
Absolutely.
He's a good cricketer, and he just comes up. He surprises a lot of people. The people around him they know what he can do.
Yeah, he's very, very laid back, and great all rounder. Obviously played a very pivotal moment for us to get across the line in the grand final a couple of years ago. It's great to obviously have him back this season. But he's like you said, he's a bit of a match winner, both with ball and bat. So great acquisition to have for the Lake Macquarie side. What just sort of again
ball
leads to that sort of a lot of all rounders through our side. So there's definitely lots of options with bat and ball depending on the game situation.
So that's after 14 overs. It's 3 for 90, and just 12 to get off 4 overs. So game should come to a conclusion relatively shortly. Belmont are doing this very comfortably. Cook a rapid fire 16 off 9 rocks, and Bailey a very mature and sedate 21 off 29.
Yeah, Cook's actually been really important for Belmont here. I think he's
Bowled well.
Did he bowl well as well? Did he?
Yeah, he did bowl.
He's having a good all-round game then, but he's definitely taken the momentum out of the Maitland sales. Definitely a couple of those sixes and just making the captain have to change the field around and things like that. Definitely put the pressure back on the Flood.
Francis back on from the southern end, or the Tree of Knowledge end. Again at 3 o'clock at Stockton and the Maitland Flood, or the Seagulls and Maitland Flood as they're called in this competition. That might be a bye if Bailey can scamper through. Kieran Knight's got his hand out, so it's a bye or a leg bye coming. And that's a bye. Ball gripping from Francis there and beating everybody. Cook again going for that slog sweep. Sorry, mate.
Still looking to go hard, still looking to target that short boundary.
Well, the better quotient they get, as Aaron's pointed out, the better quotient they get, because they're right in the mix here for a sneaky into the finals.
Yeah.
With the extraordinary chain of events at Townsend, at Kahaiba, this pool, because these games are being played, suddenly becomes, and it's I don't think Stockton can get there, but it's still outside possibility.
Yeah.
Bailey forced onto the back foot there.
It's another interesting field position. They brought that guy up from the leg side again from the short boundary, and I haven't seen a ball yet go out to deep cover. So I don't know. You'd probably prefer Bales trying to hit big into the large side against the wind rather than
coming here. Yeah,
than rather stepping inside the ball, maybe trying to hit to the short boundary with the wind.
Nicely bowled. Good flight there. Josh Chappell told me that Francis is the leading the player of the year up there in Maitland at the moment. Going very well. He says he's a reliable cricketer.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a good change of pace with his, his
absolutely.
bowling.
Yep.
It's always very handy for any sort of finger spinner, being able to have those subtle changes of pace.
I know, speaking to Chris Archer, that's one thing that he's tried to work on the last couple of years in playing for the Central Coast and in his appearances in the country is subtle variations of pace, especially when he's had conversation with Kirsch about them.
Yep.
New South Wales coach Anthony Kirsch. So that's
it.
gone. 6 more. This game will be over shortly. It's now 3 for 97. And that is over.
Yeah, it's
5 to get.
that short boundary with the wind really makes a bit of a difference.
Well, there was some conjecture yesterday that the far pitch on, as we look at it, the far pitch on the other side was the one designated to play today.
Yeah, okay.
But it got a bit damp yesterday, so they decided to resurrect yesterday's pitch.
Yep.
And it's second in from this eastern side. So this is a short boundary.
Yeah.
You can tell how short it is when you see Pearl Hills out here on the ring. They're literally only 25 or 30 metres away from the fence. So.
Always makes it a bit more exciting when there's a short boundary. I think it actually makes it a bit more tactical for the fielding sides to usually the team that defends the short boundary best wins.
Correct. And they're just as we come to the end of this game, a state country final against Riverina, venue to be confirmed shortly. But that's a massive game, a very good Riverina attack and a very deep batting Newcastle batting line. It should be a cracking game. It could be a really great country final, this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean great.
Obviously, the Riverina side winning all their three games to go through to the final, and a bit of experience there with Benny Mitchell coming back from Sydney to play for them. He's always a big in, but also Brownie
and
playing for him.
And a pest.
He's always says a bit out in the cricket field, but always in good jest. With Brownie playing for them as well, and Doc, they've three of the New South Wales country bowlers, in their lineup. So it should be a really good game, and I know a lot of the Newcastle guys are really up for it. We set ourselves that's going to stink away.
That might end up. No, it's only going to be single. That'll get them to 100. So there's 2 to get.
We set ourselves at the start of each rep season that's our goal, and are pretty harsh on ourselves if we don't achieve that, just because we like to, we like to train and put the effort in, so we expect the best results. So no, we're really looking forward to it, and that should be a really good experience.
Slower ball. Hold his fingers over that one. Bit Chad like that was just only, although Chaddy doesn't often bowl the one that was a leg spinner. You roll your fingers under it more often, don't you?
Yeah, don't give away all my secrets, Redders.
I have been watching you for a lot. I watch a lot of you bowl. In fact, I think both of us would suggest that you bowled a lot in Shep, which would perhaps wasn't the plan when we went in there, but it ended up being the way that you got a lot of wickets. That could be game over. That is big.
Yep.
And done and dusted. 106 for 3 ends up. Belmont end up 106 for 3. A very comfortable win inside 16 overs. So Belmont win that game, and at 3 o'clock we'll be back for the Seagulls and the Maitland Flood. On behalf of Aaron Gray, who's sitting over here in the background, enjoying some relaxing time, Adrian Chad, thank you so much for your time, my friend.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me, Redders.
It's a pleasure. As again, best wishes to Lake Mac and to Newcastle. I know you've got a lot on in the next 4 to 5 weeks in cricket, so all the very best. I mean, I'll be there for Newcastle, but if you happen to beat us, then obviously we'll be saying hope cheering Lake Mac on. So the very best to you, Steve, Kathleen, Jed, and the entire squad, and also playing for Newcastle in the final. I know it means a lot to all of us, so all the best wishes for you over the next month.
Cheers. Thanks, Redders.
Good on you. On behalf of Aaron Gray, Adrian Chad, this has been David Redden. We'll be due for a short period and be back with the Seagulls and Maitland Flood. Thank you all. Bye-bye.